TitleMatchNetwork.com.
Welcome to another edition of the RF Video Shoot Interview Series, and it is a pleasure to be sitting here with the Tonga Kid. Welcome to the shoot.
Thank you, buddy.
All right, let's talk about growing up. Growing up as part of a wrestling family.
Well, we come from a large group of family. We're like the Barnards and the Hart Foundation. So it all started with Wild Samoan, actually the Chief Peter Maivia.
Okay.
I'm sure you guys remember who he was back in the days. And then it goes Apa and Sika, the Wild Samoans. Mm-hmm. So, you know, again, I grew up in San Francisco, California, and that's where my uncles grew up at. So, and again, we have a large group of family, and I'm sure everybody know these big names. The brothers, my brothers are the back that ass up Rikishi, Samoan Spike, Umaga. Those are my brothers. The oldest Rikishi and my youngest is Umaga. Then it comes all the way down to me, which is the second to the oldest. And I've been in the business for now, I say, if I remember what year it is, the pounding around that I get 207. So I've been around now in the wrestling world for about 21 years now.
Wow.
I started here actually right here in New York City.
Did you watch wrestling growing up?
I watched wrestling. I wasn't really interested in wrestling, but I only watched it because Apa and Sika was in it. The Wild Samoans. But my favorite sport back in the days to watch was the roller derbies.
Oh, really?
You ever watch roller derby bombers? Right. Well, those were my dad and mom's favorite team.
And Cabello, right? She was a big roller derby legend out in California.
Yeah. I mean, it was very hot at the time, back in the 75 and stuff, but again, wrestling wasn't popular, I don't think, in the West Coast, because all promoters, they have different territories at the time, but that's where I grew up from the home of San Francisco 49ers, man. So again, I watched it because Apa and Sika was on it, and then, growing up as a young kid and didn't have a whole lot, and where we came from, and a group of 5 of us, and my mom and dad has tried to raise 5 kids. At the time, me going to high school wasn't really working out as well for me. Now teenagers, these days, if you ask me, they're pretty much spoiled now. And my age back in the days, it was pretty much all about the school and the football and growing up, trying to make it. But eventually I got caught up in the wrong crowd, mixed around with the wrong kids, I totally made a different turn. And that's where my mom and my dad decided to send me to go, where Apa and Sika lived, where they were at the time in Florida, Pensacola, Florida.
Okay.
Is where I started to train. And that's where I met Emmett Smith out there. Pensacola is a small town. It's not really a big town where pretty much everybody knows everybody in the town. But when I ended up out there, and then I started to train, Apa and Sika started to train me to be, become a wrestler, because again, I didn't do so well in high school. And, number one, I didn't have this good role model. My dad and mom were there, but they were busy working, trying to take care of 5 kids. So, me screwing up, being a knucklehead as I am. But who knows that whoever knew in their mind that I was going to become this professional wrestler, at the time. But it worked out good. I had a great run. I started back in 81 here for Vince McMahon Sr. When the father was alive. Totally different now that Vince McMahon has turned the whole sport around, and big Hollywood, you can say, and it's growing. I mean, he's a genius. McMahon's a genius what he's doing, and I thank him and his father and especially his family for giving me that opportunity. At the time that I was a young kid, growing up, didn't have nothing to look forward to, but wrestling got me out of the hole.
So when you were out in Pensacola with Apa and Sika, did you travel with them and everything, go on the road with them? And all
yeah, I did. Pensacola had a little territory. I guess they were run by, again, this is a long time ago. I don't know if you guys remember the Bob Armstrongs.
Sure, Fullers down there.
Yeah, the Fullers.
Jerry Stubbs.
Those guys, and
Jimmy Golden.
And I traveled with Apa and Sika at the time when they were, I don't know the name of the wrestling organization at the time, but we used to do Mobile, Alabama, Baton Rouge, Shreveport, Louisiana. We traveled in there. Yes, I traveled with Apa and Sika at the time, but that's basic where I was training, but I wasn't training. I was just watching them. But you know, those they didn't have schools. They didn't have what Mr. McMahon had. They sent them to the camp, and like my uncle Appa was a school, the training, the Boston One Training Center. See, they didn't have all that back in the day. I pretty much had to sit behind the curtain and watch them match from the first match all the way to the end of the show. And that's pretty much how I pretty much picked up some moves and stuff like that. And as the time went on, we would go to the building early, and there'll be nobody there but a big old wrestling ring. They didn't even open the doors yet, and then the ring crew would set up the ring, and I would just look around and jump inside the ring and sort of, you know, bounce. I wanted to know how it felt in there, and then my uncle seen the interested in me. Appa and Sika seen the interested in me, and we started going to the buildings early, and they started to train me, and that's how I ended up, you know, that was my training, my training camps, going early to the show. But I traveled with them. That's where I met Hogan.
Because he was down there, right?
Yeah, I met Hogan and Terry this time. Brutus the Barbecue Beefcake. Who else? I could say Piper. A lot of big names. Paul Orndorff, one of my other greatest wrestlers that I've liked. And he taught me a lot. You know, gave me some good word of wisdom as growing up as a kid. You know, Big Caterney Lad. There's a lot of big names that came from that federation. Bill, I think it was run by Bill Watts at the time. After Florida, they traveled to Louisiana.
Oh, you went with them there?
I went with them to Louisiana too. So I was 16. I was young, and I didn't finish high school. I didn't graduate it, so I had nothing to lose. I had nothing to lose and nothing to turn back to. I figured, well, this is it. It's like filling out an application. You sit there and you wait your turn, you know. And that's pretty much, you know, where I ended up at.
What do you remember about the Cowboy, Bill Watts?
Well, I remember a lot of sold out crowds, that's for sure. With you know, and I remember my uncles and them going to the buildings, and all the people will cheer. You know, will give them the big cheer, but they sing this song. This is one more, and I met Junkyard Dog there.
Oh, he was huge.
That was another. I forgot to bring. God bless his soul that he's passed away, but. He was another great wrestler out there, and he was real huge out there. Wow. People just loved him out there, you know. I met Bill Watts, but I met him like maybe 2 times out there. He's a big cowboy guy, country boy, cowboy hat and cowboy belts, but there was a different atmosphere, you know, at the time. You know, just like territory. And the meantime, everybody's trying to get up to the big time, which is the Big Apple. They called it at the time the Big Apple. We didn't know anything about it. Appa didn't know anything about it. And Terry, we were all in the band. You know, we're just traveling out there until we found out this big man was running up here. And the Big Apple was the WWF. Sure. But there was another competition here as well, too. There was another one. It was on ESPN. I forget the...
Pro Wrestling USA was here for a while.
Kurt Angle was one of them that I've seen on that show.
Okay.
Kurt Angle on top, Mr. Perfect.
Oh, Kurt Hennig. Right, the Road Warriors.
And all those guys were exactly. Right. That's it. The Gagne.
Right.
And that's where I seen the other. So I thought it was them, but because those were like the only big 2 at the time company that was growing up at the time. So it was pretty big. A lot of good memories in it.
Wow. When you started training, what was the hardest thing to pick up?
Timing. Psychology. Those are the main two things, you know, especially the timing, because, you know, timing is everything, right? But, you know, just thank God that I made it through it. You know what I mean? I was trained by the best, and things don't happen overnight, you know, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of kids. I hope there's a lot of kids that'll be watching this DVD. Again, I thank you guys for the opportunity to share some of my stories, some of my true stories, how I grew up in this business. There's good and there's bad. Yeah. But you have to make the right choices, because you do have a choice in life to make. So kids, if you're out there watching this DVD, I hope that this will teach you, and hopefully will give you some good word of wisdom that you have choices to make in your life. And you want to do good, because if you do good, you save a lot of money. If you sin, it costs you money. So either way you go, you know, you want to go the right way. Let's put it that way. So again, you can become a professional wrestler, baseball player, football player, you know, whatever you want to do in life is, I think if you just make those right choices the right choices that you make, you'll end up to become somebody big. Just try to keep your head above water and stay focused. That's an important thing. These are the messages out to all my wrestling fans out there that I have throughout the whole world. And I'm sure a lot of young kids now there are watching wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
So again, if you get a hold of this DVD, some word of wisdom from the Tonga Kid, stay true to the game and be loved by it.
What do you remember about your first match? Very first match.
I remember getting stretched. I remember getting stretched. And it was by Salvador Balomo.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you guys ever
Oh, sure, absolutely.
Him, but he was a great wrestler. You know, I'm going way back in the days. I'm 40 now, so, and we were talking about 20 years ago, but
okay.
I remember getting stretched from Salvador Balomo. I remember him having me running up and down the bleachers. You know, it was just a totally different type of training, but I'll never forget that. I think it's either him or Johnny Roz. I don't know if you remember the tag team Puerto Ricos.
Sure.
It was Johnny Roz and Jose Estrada back in the day.
Jose Estrada.
One was bald, the other one had the goopy.
Jose was bald, Johnny had the short hair.
I think he was my first match, and then it was Salvador Balomo. But the question you asked me is, what did I remember in my first match?
Uh-huh.
Now, out of those two, I don't remember which one did I wrestle first, but I did remember getting stretched. And it was from Salvador Balomo. That name I'll never forget, because he had me, he stretched me.
Yeah.
He pretty much just had me tap out, told me, come on, kid, what you got?
Mm-hmm.
So I haven't heard from him in a while. So if you're out there watching the tape too, hello, Salvador.
So your first matches were for Vince Sr.?
Yes.
Vince Sr.? Okay.
Yes, it was.
Okay. Now, when Alpha and Sika came into Vince Sr., they came up to New York. How soon did you get your opportunity?
I tagged along with them.
Okay.
When they left Florida, when they came to New York, I think they were here for like, I think Hogan came in like 3-4 months, and then Siganapa came in.
Okay.
And then I came in like a month or two later, because I was in Pensacola, Florida.
Mm-hmm.
And when I came in, Alpha and Sika was, I think they were the tag team champs.
Mm-hmm.
They wrestled, they beat Tony Atlas and Rocky Johnson, I think, for the belt at the time.
Okay.
And then the same thing we did out there in, like I said, I was here 3 months right after they got here. But the same thing they did out there we did out there in Louisiana. When I was telling you, I was watching the matches. Mm-hmm. Okay, we did the same thing here with me. Mm-hmm. And this is where the opportunity came in.
Yeah.
So, I was watching the matches and going to the building early, and Up on Sika, were training me. And I think on my birthday, when I turned 18 or 17, I got to the arena one day, and Appa and Sika had Big John Studd, Andre the Giant.
Okay.
They had all these big names in the ring, and I didn't know who they really were. I've seen them before, wrestle, but
yeah,
I didn't know what they were in the ring for. I went in the ring, they picked me up, and they slammed me one at a time.
Wow.
18th Appa slammed me, Sika slammed me, I think Big John slammed. You had all these other wrestlers. I don't remember a whole lot of names because being young in the sport, I was already like in the cookie jar.
Sure.
And I was just full of them. But when Andre the Giant picked me up, I thought I was never coming down. I mean, that was a long way up there, the Twin Tower, just coming.
Sure.
So, and then when he hit me with that slam, and that was happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Yeah. And that's pretty much how I ended up in New York. But it was the senior. Like you said, I met the son too.
Yeah.
I think he was just an announcer at the time. I don't know if you guys remember.
Sure. I remember. He wasn't an announcer. He was a play-by-play commentator.
Okay, that's what he was doing at the time.
Yeah. And did you actually, real young, did you wrestle in the Southeastern Territory?
Southeastern Territory
with the Fullers and everything? Because I saw something on YouTube with you real young wrestling there.
You know who? I tagged with the Armstrongs. What are their names? Let me go back.
I saw a result of you teaming with Robert Fuller. I saw something with you teaming with Robert Fuller from back then.
That was back then in the South, right?
Yeah.
Back in Florida. Yeah. But I think when I came in, I don't know if I turned heel, but I did work for that company. But I was called, here we go, I got it now. The Bob Armstrong's son was Scott Armstrong.
Mm-hmm.
He had Brad and he had Scott, which is, and well, he had another son too, but, and then there was one more other guy that, there was our tag, there was 3 of us, and then me, Tonga Kid. We were called the Rat Patrol.
Yes, I do remember seeing
Johnny
that.
Rich? No, not Johnny Rich. I don't know.
Might have been Johnny Rich.
It's probably Johnny Rich.
It might have been.
I think there was 3 of us.
Yeah.
The Rat Patrol. Well, I was Tonga Kid, Johnny Rich, which is an R, and then Scott. So that's about right. The Rat Patrol.
Yeah.
So I think that was, yeah.
Was this before Vince or after?
This is before Vince.
Oh, okay.
I worked there. Wait a minute. That's a good question. I worked there before I went to Vince, or did I go to Vince and then come
I think
back?
you were there because you looked really young in those clips that I saw.
You know what? I was there before I went to Vince. I
Okay.
think I trained it there, but then again, I don't remember what year. It gets along.
Sure.
I do remember Ox Baker.
Okay. Arn Anderson? Wasn't Arn Anderson?
Arn Anderson. Yeah. All these guys, you're right. They were there with me. Ox Baker beat the shit out of me. So, the other one, yeah, you're right. There's just some names here this time. I'm just trying to put all this together, but you're definitely right.
Yeah.
I remember wrestling out there before I came to New York City. I missed Ox Baker.
Yeah.
I wrestled him. I wrestled there was another guy that was like a Ric Flair out there. Not Tommy Rich at the time.
Buddy Landell?
I think it was Buddy Landell that was there.
Rick Rogers, was he there?
There was another guy there in the blonde.
Jerry Stubbs.
I think it was him that kissed all the girls, but these guys are all big times, now, but they started from there. And like you said, Arn Anderson was there.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of big names that came, but when you're so young, you never even think that these guys would make it.
Right.
Even myself, but they all know who I was because of my uncles. It's been in the business so long, and again, it's in the blood. So our family grew now.
Yeah.
And it came from there. It came to my brother Rikishi. It came to Umaga, and then it came to my cousin Samu. All the way to my cousin Black Pearl. I mean, Alpha Junior Senior. Alpha Junior.
Mm-hmm.
He's in WWE right now in the training. Who else am I missing? I mean, there's a lot of us out there. Well,
The Rock. He's
The Rock, our cousin The Rock.
Yeah.
He was one of the top. So it's in our blood.
Yeah.
Like
Rosie's related to you guys too.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Rosie. LA Smooth, so we have a large family. I mean, you go on our website, you'll find us on there, We have a MySpace, which is a popular thing nowadays. So you'll find a lot about us is on there on the MySpace as well,
Wow. So when you finally went to the WWF and you were now in the big time, what do you remember initially about the locker room and the atmosphere and everything like that?
I remember a lot of things about the locker room. And again, the atmosphere back then wasn't like it is now.
Yeah.
I don't really know how it is. I take that back. I don't know how it is now being with WWF because I haven't been there in a long time. But just by hearing my brothers and hearing families and friends that were in there, how it is, it's pretty miserable, they said. And kids and people are not happy. But back in those days, it wasn't like it had a lot of great fun. A lot of laughters in the dressing room. These are the things I remember back in my days.
Yeah.
I don't know about here. Everybody got along great. Of course, we worked every day, 7 days a week, 300 and something days out of the year. I mean, we were constantly on the road. You know what I'm saying? And I remember getting to the dressing rooms and all the guys some guys would be down and out, but I remember all the laughters and all the guys getting together and just, some talking about their marriage, some talk about their life, some talk about their match, some talk about. But you know what? It all worked out for the better of them. You just got to be surrounded with the right bunch of guys.
Right.
Because you know how athletes are. I'm not just saying about wrestlers. I'm saying with any athletes. You just begin, they'll stab you in the back, which is the truth. That's just the way it goes.
Wow.
But back in those days, thank God I had good role models that I followed, that I've looked up to. I looked up to, number one, my uncles, they're a number of their family. And I had some other good roles. I looked up to Paul Orndorff, Rowdy Roddy Piper, Captain Wallbound. These are just guys who've been in the game for years. Freddie Blassie, Superfly, Jimmy Snuka.
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about those matches.
I've looked up to these guys as good role models, and I had these people surrounded my life at that young kid, the Tonga Kid, because I was young. I was 18 years old, and I had all these good people around me. So again, I was surrounded with good people. So it helped me make the right choices in my life.
Did you feel a lot of pressure being, coming from a wrestling family and often Sika, because what you're doing is reflecting on them? Did you feel any pressure from them, or was it very easygoing, being their nephew? And...
I think we were easygoing in us.
Okay.
I mean, for us, we pretty much had it made because they pretty much set the foundation for us.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't no pressure. We were actually proud.
Mm-hmm.
I was actually proud to represent, my family, and proud to represent who we are, and because what we do, not just in the ring, but out the ring as well too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
So a lot of people that don't know, but if you're watching this DVD, everything that you hear from the Tonga Kid that's coming out of this mouth, we come from a lovable family. We have people respect us because, you got to earn respect to give respect, right?
Yeah.
In our case, it wasn't about the bully, or it wasn't about the ego. It wasn't about, the reach to fame and all this stuff. We earned our respect in this business. Every single one of us. And I'm talking about the Samoan family, the Samoan tree.
Yeah.
The Fatus and Anuais.
Early on in your career, at that stage of the game when you were 18, in a fun way, did any of the veterans rib you?
Yeah. The most, I think I got ribbed the veteran by Mr. Fuji.
Oh.
You know
the
what
Fuji ribs. Oh, all the guys talk about the Fuji ribs.
Mr. Fuji's, he was one of the greatest rib of all time.
Yeah. Do you have any good Fuji rib stories?
I can't. Well, I can remember some of his Fuji stuff. I think one of the Bulldogs, one of the British Bulldogs, the Dynamite Kid, mm-hmm. and Davey Boy Smith. I don't know which one did it, but I think one of them, that hat that he wears in the ring, I think one of them pooped inside his hat. That was one of their ribs, but some of the Fuji's ribs are some dangerous ribs.
Yes.
His ribs can get to where it can really mess you up, and really, but a lot of them take it serious. But you better be careful who you rib. You know what I mean? I don't think I was pretty a ribber, but then Fuji wouldn't rib me much as a lot of other guys. Mr. Fuji only ribbed guys that he don't like.
Mm.
That's pretty much how that worked.
Gotcha.
If he didn't like you, he's gonna rib you.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get a lot from him. He pretty much, everything was a kid. This is way before the 1, 2, 3 Kid came out.
Mm.
Because my name was the Kid. Kid, everywhere I went. Kid. Kid. Hey, Kid, give me some water. Kid, this. And I did it. I did it because where we grew up from, again, was with respect. We learned to respect our elders. And that's the culture we're from. Mm-hmm. That's the culture, where we live from, the America Samoa. That's how our parents taught us. Mm. And I carried that until today. Even to you. If I'd offer you some water or you need some water, I would get up and get it for you. It's not because what I do as a celebrity, mm-hmm. We have other sides of us. And this is what this is about.
Sure.
People don't know.
Sure. All
they see is this guy as he comes in the ring, he's the character, and then boom, he's out of sight. You don't hear from him again. So I'm pretty much glad. I am glad that we're doing these interviews, things to talk about, because people need to know the other side of us, and hopefully they see nothing but good lights and good things out of it, Yeah. So, but we have messages for kids out there too. Don't try this at home.
At what point did the Office start to notice that you looked like Jimmy Snuka, and that maybe there might be something that we could work with here? I
know you were going to get to the Snuka part.
Oh, we got a lot of Snuka questions.
I'm sure Snuka got some questions about me too. I think what happened, I don't know the whole story. Again, it's the truth. I really don't know the whole story of what happened to Snuka, but the time that I came in, again, it was timing. Mm-hmm. Like you talked about in the ring, it was hard. Everything was timing. So when I came in at a time where it was in Springfield, Massachusetts, right? Mm-hmm. Some guy didn't show up for this is what I remember.
Okay.
Again, I don't know a lot about what happened to Snuka, but I'm going to get into the story. So because I'm going to have to go from one to the 3. A gentleman didn't show up. They were short one match, Springfield, Massachusetts. Jose Estrada.
Okay.
That's the match that I remember. Nobody showed up, and they were short one match, so they put me in it. So I went and I wrestled, and I listened to Jose Estrada, whatever he told me to do. Pat Patterson was there. Aponseca was there. The house, full house. But Pat Patterson was the agent that night.
Okay.
Again, it goes back in the 80s. He watched me wrestle. He looked at me and then he said, wow, this kid is good. And he went to told Abansika and he goes, well, again, all they told me is, you remember, how to dunk a clothesline? I said, yes. You know how to drop kick? I said, yes. You know how to knee frog? I said, yes. He goes, can you come up top rope? I said, yes. I pretty much did everything that Jimmy was doing at that time, that he was so hot on fire that nobody even imagine that anybody else can do it.
Right.
Except me, but there's this island boy, which is me. So anyway, I did that. And when I went through that match, Pat Patterson recognized me. And when he got a hold of Vince, he said, hey, you got to see this kid. Now, all this time, whatever's going on with Jimmy at the time, I don't remember what was going on with Jimmy. I was just doing what I was told to do.
Gotcha.
They flew me in the Cape Cod, Long Island. Do they have a Cape Cod here in New York?
They have a Long Island, New York.
Okay.
With the Nassau Coliseum.
Cape Cod. I think it's called Cape Cod or
maybe
it was Long Island.
Yeah.
That's what happened when you take a lot of bumps and just thank God that I'm still all alive. Hopefully I'm all here.
Gotcha.
And then you got my cousin Samu, the great Samu.
Sure.
Okay. You remember when he was here with Apanchika back in the days of
Absolutely.
WWF? There were 3 of them.
Mm-hmm.
Remember? Okay. Yeah, that was my cousin that took me out there. So they flew us out there, and he was supposed, his job was to make me look, because Pat Patterson went and told Vince McMahon Sr. that, hey, there's a kid here, Tonga Kid here, that you got to see him. You got to see him. Because now that I put 2 to 2 together, the reason why they wanted to see me is because I look like Jimmy. But the time, I guess Jimmy was going through some problems, and I guess back in the days where I guess a girl died in the tub or
in Pennsylvania.
Whatever. Yeah, I all that time. Again, I was young. These guys were a whole lot. I think he's old. When I'm 40, he's got to be 60 or 50 or 58. I don't know. He's got to be somewhere around there. But they were a whole lot older than me, so they knew the game. Again, I was just doing what I was told. So, where was I? Okay, the girl passed away. Then now that I came in, Pat Patterson takes me down there, and Vince McMahon takes a look at me. I go, oh yeah, he's good. So a week later, this is a week later, 2 weeks later, I get a booking. And a booking is called a sheet, where you get a sheet like you have in your hand, and the booking for you to go wrestle everywhere. Okay. So in order for me to get better at my wrestling, I can't wrestle once a month. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
You have to wrestle on the road every day, pretty much 7 days a week.
Sure.
And, and they were putting me with guys that would teach me. Salvador Blanc, you wrestle him. Teach S.T. Delivery Jones. Remember him? He does and he haven't won a match in that. He probably did, but he was famous because his character and losing, and he was a great guy on top of that, out of the ring. Mm-hmm. So, but their job was to teach me. And again, I was young and I was just following the rules, just doing what I was told to be done. Yeah, doing what I was told to be do. So I was doing all that stuff, and then come to find out later that this is where they had to come up with a name for me, and they called me Jimmy Snuka's cousin. Mm-hmm. And it was Vince McMahon Sr. And I never forget. It was in Allentown, Pennsylvania, I think it was.
Probably that's where they did the TVs.
Well, there was one more place that did TV. Hamburg, Connecticut.
Hamburg, PA.
Pennsylvania?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I maybe that's where they was at Hamburg. Because that's when they broke the news and said, is there any other name? This is where we came up with my name, the Tonga Kid. And my uncle Appa and Sika were the one that helped me come up with the name Tonga. Tonga is an island. Mm-hmm. Because at that time they had from Fiji, Superfly Jimmy Snuka, mm-hmm. from Hawaii, Don Morocco,
right,
from America Samoa, which is the Wild Samoans. I don't know if they had Western Samoa. I don't know if that Siva Afi was there at the time.
Later.
Later. Okay. Yeah. Well, these are all these South Pacific wrestlers.
Yes.
Well, I'm an island boy too. And I'm in South Pacific where there's only like a couple more islands left. And I thought, well, there's no Tonga here. But you got Fiji, you got Samoa, you got West Samoa, you got Hawaii, but there's no Tongans. Mm. So we came with the name as Tonga is an island. It's the name, it's Tonga, sure. Like Hawaii. Well, we just threw the kid in because at the time I was a kid. So they said, Tonga Kid, that's it, we'll go with that. Yeah. You're Jimmy Snuka's cousin. I said, okay. So, again, I just went along with it. As the month went along, weeks went along, weeks went to months, and then before you know it, I was in the ring with a chair beating the shit out of Piper.
Yeah.
And that's all that started from there. And then Jimmy fell out. He fell out somewhere. He just fell out of the picture. And I guess he was going through so many things. Like I said earlier, the woman died. He's been going through some problems with the company or again, I don't know.
Right.
I was young and I don't know. I really don't know what happened to Jimmy. I feel bad, but when he came back, they tagged him up with me, or they tagged me up with him. I guess I put it that way. They tagged me up with him because he was he was on fire, sold out everywhere. Everywhere he went was sold out.
Sure.
Packed, and here's this is me. I mean, I was thankful I was part of it, but I never knew it was going to get this large.
Wow.
Just like it is now. But people don't understand. I'm a legend. I'm a legend.
You walked into the hottest feud in the business at the time.
The hottest angle.
Yeah, hot in the business.
Yeah. Didn't even know it.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? I didn't even know what I was doing what I was told to do, but didn't know at the time. Like I said, it was the hottest thing. You got top heels, Piper. You had Cowboy Bob Orton. You had
Orndorff.
Mr. Wonderful. But then they had that Hogan thing with Iron Sheik or he beat him.
Yeah.
But that was compared to the angle we had. Not that I'm knocking Hogan, but Hogan had his thing. You had you have A, then you have B. You couldn't say if they threw us in B, we still sold the house. They threw us in A, it was probably even better, but we were right there with them because we had, like you said, the hottest angle in wrestling history himself and the business, because at that time it was everywhere we went. People hated Piper. He was the hottest heel. Snuka wanted the top baby face, and then here I come along and had this nappy hair, long hair, young kid, big lip, nice build, fitness body. And, again, I was just at the right place at the right time. Again, it was timing. Yeah. I just thank the Lord that I've made it this far. And, I'm still wrestling, doing an independent show here and there, still trying to stay in shape, which is important because you got to stay in shape as your age, as you grow older, your body changes. Your food, the way you eat and your bones. And thank God I can still get up out of bed. I don't need anybody to help me get up. You know? But I try to stay good. I try to stay healthy and stay focused. And I love those days with Jim Snuka. I could talk about this for hours and hours, but, I've learned a lot from it too. And when I ran into that show, them angles that we did, and everyone that I started to make the shirt that I want Piper. Then when Snuka came back, it was about tag teams. It was me, Snuka, Piper, Orndorff, Piper, Mr. Wonderful. I mean, he had so many armies. Yeah. He was switching back and forth, and we didn't know which way to go. Yeah. There was this me and Snuka. I don't even think we had another baby face besides Hogan that was there, right? Yeah, yeah. I mean, you guys were selling out the one town. They were doing the other town with Hogan. Exactly. Yeah. And that was called A and B. Right. Back in those days, they called it the A and the B town. Yeah. So it wasn't B to me because it was full everywhere we went, So those were the good old days, man. I mean, the wrestling nowadays is totally different than it is back in our days. Yeah. But again, Vince has turned the notch up. He's a genius at what he does. I'm hoping one day that we'll get a phone call from him that we'll join all the Samoan reunion again. Wow, that'd be nice. Together, and I pretty much want our name to become like a Homeland Samoan Security. That's pretty much what I wanted to do with me and my brothers and my cousins, just to put us all together. Just like they had the Hogan, the NWO. Right, so right. We want to have ours something like that too. To send a message out, you know what I mean? Sure. Just to go out there and let them know, because we can still do it. I mean, if Ric Flair can still wrestle that long and Snuka and all these guys. Exactly. I'm only 30. I'm only 40. I just turned 40. Wow. And all my brothers are about the same age as me, 38, 39. The youngest one is my brother Umaga, and I have some cousins in the bit. So there's a lot of us. We all got talent. Oh yeah. We just got to encourage you though, just to do the right thing and learn from our mistakes and learn from watching other wrestlers. What they do. So I remember, just recently I watched an old house show from Philly. It might have been 83 or 84, but you were in one of the opening matches. This was before even the Snuka angle, before you were putting the angle with Piper. And you did the dancing, and everything. And the place went nuts after the match. Whose idea was it for you to start doing the dancing in the middle of the match? I don't know if it just happened because really nobody really even talked about it. But growing up in high school, I used to do the pop dance. The Rock used to do that too. I used to do videos. I mean, when I met him, he was young, Dwayne, right? And me and him, we grew up. Well, he grew up in Connecticut at the time. This one in New York. But when I got in the ring, I just, like I said, when I was young, I used to do the moonwalk and you just call the robots, just like, back in the young kid. And I thought, well, I'll give it a shot at it, because, people make their comeback. They all have their different style.
Yeah.
Some Hogan shakes for the comeback and the house is going to interrupt. Everybody had their own way of doing it. So I thought, well, why can't I dance? But I used to dance in the dressing room to the wrestlers. I used to perform in front of Captain World Battle, Freddie Blassie. I used to go up there and just do my thing and do that. They go, yeah, they like that.
Yeah.
But never thought that I'd do it in the ring, So I just gave it a try, one time. And I think there at Philadelphia, who I wrestled was a guy out of Sacramento. He was bald. He got that mean way. You know what I'm talking about? He's out of Sacramento. I know it's hard.
Paul Vachon? Was it Paul Vachon from Canada? Paul Butcher Vachon, maybe?
This guy was representing Sacramento, and Captain Lou Albano was manager in him.
Okay.
I'll get to the name before you close.
All right.
But
Iron Mike Sharp?
Not Iron Mike Sharp. He had the leather on.
Yeah.
This guy was like, he had just a pair of short, bald-headed,
Killer Khan?
No, he's from Sacramento. I'm sure
we'll hit it.
But when he hits my head on the turnbuckle, and I started to do the again, I was just trying something. So I just did it one that night just to see how the people acted, and then when he hit my head again on the turnbuckle, and then he hit it, and that's when I did the, just started doing the moonwalk. And Michael Jackson at the time, the moonwalk was hot at them days. Mm-hmm. So I mixed a little bit of that and a little bit of the worm and then a little bit of the robot, and then I guess the people
place went nuts.
And then the wrestlers, some guys were encouraging me. And then they's like, hey, man, keep doing that, do your, because being a heel, whatever it is going to make it easy on them is, a good baby face makes a good match. Oh, a good heel makes a good match, too.
Yeah.
And it works both ways. But you can make a match really easy if you know what you're doing. Again, I was just trying something new as a young kid. But, yeah, those when I watch those now, I'm thinking, what was I doing? But it worked, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Most definitely. Now, when you and Snuka started tagging up, did you guys ride together, or did you still ride with Hoffa and Sika?
I rode with I went back and forth.
Oh, okay.
I would ride with my uncles, and sometimes I would just ride with just Sika.
Okay.
Me and him did a lot of traveling together, and me and Sika did. Then sometimes I ride with Jimmy Snuka. I would tell him, hey, Uncle, can I go ride with Jimmy Snuka? And Jimmy Snuka, he's driving a pink Cadillac. I don't know if you guys ever remember, but
I heard the story that he used to have a big Cadillac.
He had a Lincoln.
Oh, a Lincoln. That's it. That's what I heard about.
A pink Lincoln, but to me there was only one Elvis, right?
Right.
Well, when I jumped in his car and I traveled with him, we must have listened to every Elvis music you can imagine.
He's a big Elvis fan.
Oh, he's a big Elvis fan. I didn't know that. That's what. Remember those times we had DVD. We had no cassettes or no tape thing. There were actually cassettes.
Right.
Back in the days. But he was just an Elvis fan, and that's how I learned some of the Elvis songs from Jimmy Snuka. He could sing. He loves to sing. He would just sing his heart out when we tried. I would sing right along with him. I was excited, and they would just encourage me just to do good. But again, like I said, I was sitting in the hot seat and didn't know that was the hottest angle in wrestling business, in the history of wrestling.
Yeah.
It's the number one hottest storyline until today.
Yeah. Do you think that, I mean, maybe you know, maybe you don't, but just your thoughts. Do you think back then that Hogan was envious of what you and Jimmy had with Piper and Orton and Piper and Orndorff? Because you guys were on fire.
You asked me a question, and I'm going to be real with it. I think it was a balance. I think it were, like I said, with the A and the B. Mm-hmm. And this is my opinion.
Sure.
My opinion, I think me and Snuka was the hottest thing going on.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
I mean, that's my opinion.
Yeah.
Again, nothing against any of the wrestlers, but the time, like I said, I was in the hot seat as a young kid. And now that watching as I was growing up and then going back to these tapes and going back to these interviews and listening to the people talk about, I was in a hot angle.
Yeah. Do you ever watch the tapes back and just think to yourself, damn, that was
yes,
hot.
yes. I would do that with my son.
Yeah.
I got a 10-year-old son.
Okay.
And he loves wrestling. His name is Jacob Fatu. He would go to school and pops up all them emails, trying to do all these research about his dad, and he loves wrestling.
Yeah.
So I always try to tell him that, it's important that you stay focused inside your school. Because in our business today, it seems to twist a lot of kids' mind. And if they don't be careful at what they do, I think it's important that we need to be role models. And being a father was pretty hard for me, but I've always wanted to be there for my kids.
Yeah.
Because I have 3 of them. I got a 17-year-old, it's Jacob, and then I got a 14-year-old, it's Josiah. It's hard to talk about these because I love my family. And I know how important it is for parents out there to be watching this DVD. That it's important to let our kids know that how much we really care about them.
Yeah.
And the wrestling did great for me. But my 10-year-old was the one that really inspired me. We would sit at home and eat popcorn, and we would pop in these old tapes of me and Piper versus, it was me and Snuka versus Piper and Orndorff. Mm-hmm. Madison Square Garden. Main event. One of the youngest kid at 18 years old ever sold out Madison Square Garden.
You were the youngest kid. You're the youngest kid ever in the main event in Madison Square Garden.
I'm in a world record book that I've seen.
Yeah.
One of the fans would come up and show it to me. And to this day, I don't believe it until today. People still talk about it.
Yeah.
23,000 plus, standing ovation only. Full, jam-packed to the max. It was me and Snuka against Rowdy Piper and Bob Orton. Mm-hmm. Not Bob Orton.
It was Bob Orton. It was Bob Orton in Madison Square Garden.
Okay. Maybe because all 3 of them, they always come out together. It could be Mr. Wonderboy and he could be the bodyguard. So they change it up. But it's always me and Snuka. Right. We're constantly fighting everybody, so we don't know who we're fighting. He didn't even have a name for his team, so. But this is where my son comes, Journey, and I would watch, wrestling. My other kids didn't care too much because, they're teenagers now. They grew up on it. They grew up in the business, but they wasn't really interested because I always push them another route. Education first, NFL, or NBA, or, those are all good companies that can secure your life for you, meaning business, contracts, all that. They can set your future and goal for you. In wrestling, you're going to make a lot of money, but it's up to you to save it. It's up to you to be your agent. It's up to you to make the calls. And, it's a lot. And you got to be the father, then be a role model, then be there. There's just so much. Yeah. But me and my young son, and that's just why when we talk about my kids, it's very important to me because I'm a family man. And it comes from my heart because I love them. If they do good or bad, I still love them. But those are the choices they're going to make through life. But they know that wrestling will always be there for them because now you got the 4th generation. You got Rikishi's son, you got Umaga's kids, you got my kids. So we have these kids are ready, Yeah. This is 4th generation. That's pretty much come from Apansika, and it comes all the way, actually Peter Maivia, comes to Apansika, then it comes to us, then it comes to our kids. It's the 4th generation of the Samoans. And you can imagine how many kids I have. You imagine how many kids Rikishi got. You imagine how many kids Umaga got. Mm-hmm. So these are all in the family. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So there's a lot of young wrestling that's going to come out there, especially with the kids. So that's why I sit around and watch old tapes, man. And me and my son had a great time, and I just love my kids. And especially Journey's just a big wrestling fan. He's 11 years old now. He would find anything on the internet, old tapes, old pictures, just anything about me. And they're all Tonga Kid. Yeah. I said, God, I don't think they have those anymore. Oh, yeah, they have them. The only thing I haven't seen out yet were action figures. Okay. I haven't seen anything about Tonga Kid action figures or, what a lot of wrestlers have. I don't think they probably don't realize that how hot these are with Snuka and Tonga Kid.
Yeah.
You know, action figure. If you guys like to have some, vote online.
Sure.
You know, make some calls. The Islanders, I can have one with Tonga Kid.
There you go.
Haku and Bobby the Brain Heenan.
Yep.
And then have one me and Snuka, and have one by myself.
Yeah.
So the people always come up and ask you for, hey, you got an action figure? We want to buy it. See, I never went that far. And I thought that people would go out there and they voted it, or people just recommend it, then these companies, hopefully, they'll make them out. Because I know I'll sell them in every Tongan island. They'll sell out.
Sure.
You know, but that's where we used to sit around and answer questions. We did watch a lot of wrestling, old wrestling tapes. And even back in the days when I was 16, when I wrestled out in Pensacola, Florida, too, that I watched some of those tapes with my, my son. Well, my son now is 10, but we still have some old Rowdy Roddy Piper's greatest hits in there.
Yep.
Some old Tonga Kid tapes in there. And I just couldn't believe how nice and built that was. You grow old, you be a family, everything changes,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Some of the guys that we've done interviews with over the year, they say that that Jimmy was hard to work with because he had his troubles that he was trying to work through. Did you find it some nights difficult to team with him, just in with his troubles that he had outside the ring? Yeah,
well, it's funny because he never shows them in the ring. You couldn't tell.
No.
I mean, I couldn't. I mean, if he had troubles, again, like I said, when they're behind doors because I don't know anything.
Yeah.
But all I need to remember is this is what I need to do when this happened. This guy comes in and he's pretty much the leader.
Right.
Like I said, because one time I'll turn around and he's not there. And then I just got to go wherever these guys are telling me where to go.
Yeah.
I had no question about stuff. But no, I haven't seen that. Every time I tag with him, he's always been the wild. I mean, back in the day, he was like Tarzan back in those days.
Jacked.
He was just like, rah, and the hair's wild. So I get scared myself because I don't know who he's going to hit.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's just, I couldn't tell. I really couldn't tell you that because to me, I couldn't tell. Snuka was always, if he had problems, I'm sure he didn't bring it to work with him.
Yeah.
Or bring it, you couldn't tell. Even me, I couldn't tell. I mean, I guess that goes for any job. You leave your job, you leave your work at work and then you come home, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's pretty much how I see with Jimmy, but I couldn't tell. No, I couldn't tell him.
Did you have, you were 18 at the time, you said, and you're main eventing Madison Square Garden. Yeah. Was it difficult for you not to fall into the temptations that some people fall into on the road and in that kind of position? Because you're very young with a lot of success.
Yeah. I mean, it was pretty much like, it was like it happened too fast for me, I guess you could say, and there was a lot of temptation.
Mm-hmm.
I did a lot of bad things. I did things that I wasn't supposed to do, growing up in the atmosphere. Again, you had good role models and you had some bad role models, but at being so young like that, who do I turn to?
Yeah.
I mean, where do I go? I mean, I would love to go, in my mind, I'm thinking I need to go to Vince, but I didn't get carried away as other wrestlers did. I didn't go over the limit or go above, or above the mountain or over the mountain. I pretty much kept myself right where I needed to be because I had uncles that cared about me. I had uncles that loved me, which is Apansika again, the Wild Samoan. They were part of this, even though they wasn't on the same card because they had A and B, but they kept me in line.
Did they?
Yes, they kept me in line. They kept me in check, and they said, you mess up, we'll kick your ass. I mean, that's just the way, with my uncle, who wouldn't be scared of them?
Right.
I was scared of them,
Yeah.
And there's a difference between being scared and being feared, I can say I was feared and scared. I was actually both,
Sure.
But, yeah, there was a lot of temptation being that young, on all the raps, there's drugs.
Well, I was thinking, young guy, you're a good-looking guy at the time, in shape. You're on TV all over the world. You think that, with all the rats and all the other stuff out there, it'd be crazy.
And it was, but then I thought, is all this worth it? Is all this worth to throw away everything that I worked hard to become? I didn't, to be honest, I really didn't want to become this professional wrestler. I really wanted to become a football player.
Oh, really?
But I guess in any sports, you're going to get the same feedback.
Yeah.
You're going to get that feedback. You're going to get the rats. You're going to get the drugs. You're going to get, what I mean by drugs, it could be any. It could be steroid. It could be any type of drug.
Right.
I'm not going to lie. Back in them days, I tried the steroids. and I tried it back then, but it wasn't for me. It might work for other people, but it might not work for me. But it's just more money. Like I said, the more you send, the more money it costs you.
Right.
And if you don't send, it don't cost you no money. So does that make sense? So,
Absolutely.
I mean, again, like I said, growing up and listening and watching these things, sometimes I sit back and say, what the hell was I thinking about?
Yeah.
What was I thinking about? Hello? But again, it's never too late. When you make mistakes, you just got to get up. Like I said, you get knocked down, get your ass back up and keep moving.
Yeah.
Don't look back and don't stop. You got to keep moving. That's why I'm thankful that I'm alive today. And because some of the wrestlers now that you see, or 99% are all passed out or all died from overdose. Or I mean, that's just, but it's the truth.
Yeah.
I mean, it's sad. Let's just put it that way. And a lot of these guys I know. And I know for sure my cousin Yokozuna didn't die from no drugs or overdose. He just had some heart failure, or he had some problem with his health. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So I mean, being 670 pounds and move like 120, he was a good. He was pretty fast for his size. You know, and lovable guy. I miss him dearly. I really do. Man. Every day I think about him, but. I think none of us besides Yoko went to be with the Lord, but there's still a lot of my other brothers are still in the business here.
Yeah.
And we keep encouraging each other to stay strong. It ain't gonna hurt to have a couple cold beers after good hard work, and that's any man. That's any man. 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week. You go home, you have a couple cold beers, you watch football, and you go sleep, or play basketball. You watch basketball, whatever. I mean, that's the smart way. You get up, you work out, you do what you got to do again. A lot of these guys don't see another day. Yeah. They don't believe in seeing another day. They would go and go and go and go and go, and next thing you know, they're burying them.
Wow.
So.
What do you remember about the singles matches you had with Roddy Piper, who at that time was the hottest heel in the business?
What I remember of the single match with Roddy Piper, I remember him poking my eyes. I remember him biting my toes. I mean, it just did some good to me. He was just a goofy wrestler. I mean, what more can I say? I mean, if you really watched his character, he was just that goofy heel. He would just shake around and poof. You ever seen?
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
So those are the things I remember him doing. But it's like everybody hated and booed him when he did that.
Yeah.
So those are the things I remember him. Guiding me. Just helping me get through to the next day and the next day. Because without me, he's got nobody to wrestle. I was his hottest thing going. I mean, who does he want? If he gets to the building, I'm not there. Who's he gonna? He can't wrestle Morocco. Nobody want to see him on the rock. They want to see me. They actually want to see me kick his ass. Yeah, that's pretty much where that came up to. But like you said, again, I was young and I had these curly, nappy hair and a nice body, being young and around all the And it still didn't kick in to me yet that I was in that hot seat. Wow, really? It haven't kicked in until I think it kicked in after I was burnt out. Get the party like 2 at nighttime when you party, and then your body can only take so much, Right. And you just keep going and going, but your mind says go, but your body's it can't go. Yeah. And I guess I just left. I just went home. Yeah. And when I went home and Vince called, I mean, I didn't realize how hot I was. I didn't realize, how I definitely want to talk about that. I don't know if you have that on the script where I did leave. Oh yeah. Oh, most definitely. It's a question as a fan I've even had, up to this day. But we'll get to that because I want to go in order here. But I definitely want to talk about that. How about Bob Orton? You wrestled Bob Orton a lot too. Yeah. Yeah. What do you remember of working with Cowboy Bob? He's a great teacher. Yeah. I love watching it. I love his. I mean, he's just everything he does is just like perfect. They come up with Mr. Perfect. There you go. But you're going back to the legends now. I consider all these guys as legends. I consider myself a legend because the years that I started and wrestled and being around Cowboy Bob Orton, Piper, the Wild Samoans, being around Mr. Wonderful, Paul Orndorff. I mean, these are just guys now, to this day, 2007, you look at them now. They don't look anywhere near the way they look now.
Mm-hmm.
But they're legends.
Mm-hmm.
In my eyes, they're legends.
Definitely.
And if they ever wanted to put on some pair of tights again now and get in the ring and show you what they want to do, I'm sure they can do that too.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I can put mine on right now as we speak. You know? I'm sure I'll be putting mine on tomorrow night somewhere. But yeah, Cowboy Bob Orton is a great wrestler. And working with him, one of another top heels in New York City, right, at the time. And, you know, when you're working, they're actually teachers. They're actually teaching you. We're the students. At being so young at that age, I was one of the students.
Yeah.
Right?
Definitely.
I really enjoy working with these guys. They didn't try to, you know, they had respect for my uncle Oppenseeker. Like I said, there wasn't no pressure. It made it easy on us. They pretty much, Oppenseeker kicked the doors open for everybody. Peter Maivia kicked the doors open for everybody. You know, so we were thankful that we had my uncle and these guys to be in the business so long because they have earned their respect in this business. And anybody that's related to the Samoans come down to us and kids, and their reputation in the wrestling business alone, people know who the Wild Samoans were in the ring and out the ring. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? So it made it easy for all of us. And we were thankful for that. I'm really grateful for it, you know, to be part of it. I'm sure all my other brothers and cousins out there are grateful for it too, you know, and we thank them for it because they give us the opportunity. But it's our call. We either can want to do it or we don't have to do it. But again, he was a great guy.
Now, you know, during the brief break, you were telling me that you actually used to set up the rings in the WWF before you started wrestling.
Yeah. I did. You know, it's funny because, I don't know, I'm probably getting ahead of myself, but I get excited. I mean, again, I'm just a young kid. I'm not old too, but it'd be good. We all stay young like this, you know, with a good spirit in our heart. But I used to set the ring up with Gorilla Monsoon's son. His name was Joey. God bless his soul. He passed away. He's a great friend of mine. I used to set up the rings with Joey. We used to travel and set the rings up for all the wrestlers to wrestle every night. Wow. And this big man would pay me. I don't think I was making like $750 an hour. I mean, $750 a week. Wow. You know, setting up. You know, those times, a young kid, you know, again, I was trained at the time because we would put the ring up early and there'll be nobody there but just me, the ring, and this empty 20,000 building, you know. This is before I came to Tonga Kid. This is before I had my first match. This is before all this happened to me. This is before anything you can imagine ever happened to me. This is how I came into New York City and helped with the ring when my uncles brought me up here. And that's how I grew a relationship with Joey. And I remember going to his house, meeting his family, Gorilla Monsoon, his mom, really nice family. I think they lived in Jersey. Here. I think Jersey here. You know, so it was just a great place, you know. I mean, they were a great family. And I don't remember what nationality it was, but when I went to set up the ring, even till today, I set rings up. I show kids how to do the rings, you know, because I used to set them up before. And that's how that happened, man. So there's a lot of things we're probably going to leave out, but hopefully we can get them all in here. Cool.
Now, you had a couple of matches I saw just in looking back at the history anyway on the house shows with Patera. Yeah. What do you remember about working with Patera?
He was the strongest. His character was like the strongest man in the world, I guess, right at the time, right? He was a heel. Because I don't ever remember me wrestling as a heel. I think I was always the baby face. Here.
During this time,
this time, Kim Patera. Yeah, he was another good teacher, another good legend, you know, another good teacher to me. But I think when he put the kicks to my head is those are the ones I really felt. I mean, those are kicks that if you really watch them kick you, those hurt. Those things I remember, Kim Patera, you know, I remember him putting me in those, what do you call them?
Full Nelson?
Yeah, he got me one of those before. And then I did the worm. He started to do the dance with the fans like. And when he grabbed me in that, I started to wiggle my body again back to the dance, what we talked about.
Awesome.
And people went crazy again and made a little comeback, and we went home. You know?
How about Paul Orndorff? What do you remember? He's working with Paul Orndorff, Mr. Wonderful.
That's another. His wrestling was, I guess, I can't say goofy. He was more excited than any other wrestler I can imagine because he can go. he can go. Sometimes you get too excited, he don't realize how hard he kick you. And some of his kicks and punch can knock you out. Yeah, and because he's so hype, he's always hyper. I don't know if you watch.
Absolutely.
He's just a hyper.
Constantly going.
Yeah, he's just hyper. And yeah, he's potatoed me a couple of times. That I can remember. Some of the kicks, you watch him do some of his good kicks. Those kicks can ring a bell in your ear too,
Yeah.
But he was another great guy. I really loved it, Paul Orndorff. You're watching this tape, Paul. I love you, man, and I miss you, and I thank you for all your help. You have helped me throughout my whole, time we spent in New York, because he was a great teacher and a great guy. I met him in Florida.
Oh, okay.
I met him working for
the Armstrong.
The Armstrong. Well, no, not the Armstrong. I wasn't working for them. I met him when I was going traveling with my uncles Appa and Sika.
Okay.
I met Paul Orndorff working for Bill Watts.
Right, because he was up there at that time.
At the time, Bill Watts' territory was booming in the South.
Yeah.
They had all those. This was Piper and Butch Reed.
Yeah.
I remember him. They came out of there. There's a lot of names. Mr. Olympia. I don't know if you remember.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So these are just guys. Like I said, that I've met there that never knew they'd become big times here in New York City, but they definitely had the right tools to become big time because they were good.
Now, did you notice that you were getting treated differently by Vince? I guess Vince Jr. started running things. Did you notice that when you started main eventing with Piper and all those guys, that now all of a sudden you're the main event, you're not the young guy on the bottom of the shows anymore? Did Vince Jr. and Sr. start treating you different?
No, they wouldn't treat me. I was just working a lot.
Okay. They worked you harder.
Yeah, I was working there. Yeah, I was working harder, and every day, that's pretty much where all that came. And this is where I came up, when I tell you, with my body and all this, all this pressure as a young kid and all the temptation around me. And there was no role model, but that was the only thing they did. Other than that, no, they never treated me no different. They paid me well. Mm. They paid me real well. I can say that. They paid me real well, and it's true. They paid me well, and I'll say it again. They took real good care of me, but it's just, I guess, the working part and the traveling and just, everything. You're only in the ring for 3 minutes, 4 minutes, and then most of the time you're traveling. Mm. You're constantly traveling. So I guess my body took a beating, a total, or, I thought maybe there'll be some breaks in between, but it wasn't.
Yeah. I don't even know if you remember. Do you remember, because I saw this result, and it's an odd match that I saw, memories of wrestling Bret Hart on a house show in Ohio back then when he first came in?
Bret Hart?
Yeah, you had a singles match with Bret Hart right when he came in, like he very first came into WWF.
I had a match with him?
Yep, a singles match in Ohio.
In Ohio? Yeah. I was... Again, I was babyface.
Yep.
He was heel.
Yep.
He was by himself. He had a pair of black tights.
Yep, it was before he even had the pink.
Yeah, he didn't have the pink. He didn't have the glasses or nothing. I remember that.
Okay.
I remember enough of it to talk about, when he came out.
Yeah.
He didn't have the leather jacket. It was just a wet hair.
Right.
And just plain Bret Hart. Yeah, he was just plain. But he was... what's that word he says all the time? Execute.
The excellence of execution.
Yeah, and that was him.
Yeah.
That was exactly.
Even back then.
Yeah, he was a young kid. Mm-hmm. I don't know if he's probably maybe 2 or 3 years older than me, but he was young just like me.
Yeah.
And he was trying to get that big break too. But now at the time, I don't know if I had the angle with Piper at that time.
You did.
I did?
Yeah.
Okay. And then, yeah, I had the angle with Piper at the time. So I remember the fans were cheering pretty high for me at that, the time with Bret Hart, but Bret had some stuff too that I gave him, but eventually I won the match.
Yeah.
At the time,
Sure.
Vince, they pushing the young. Again, I was young and good looking, but I think the only thing I can remember about Bret is his long, greasy, wet hair. I mean, that was it.
Now, how come in early 1985 you started missing some of the shows?
Wore out.
Yeah.
Burnt out.
Yeah.
Tired, traveling every day, and just gave up.
Yeah.
And I hate that. I hate what I did because, I don't know, you're burning bridges or either that or, again, you're young. I was young. I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
I was sorry for what I did. Whoever's watching, I'm sorry for whatever towns or all my fans are not sure. I'm sorry for that because I had no leader.
Yeah.
I had no leader, no role model. Nobody tell me, you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Doing right or wrong. I had Appa and Sika there, but again, they're not going to watch me all the time. They're on another town, and I'm on another town, and
yeah,
I was burnt out. I was going from town to town. I was just the time back then with Vince McMahon Sr., the business was booming. We wasn't even flying. I don't even think we were flying half of the world. It was just New York City.
Yeah.
I mean, the territory was New York.
Yeah.
Madison Square Garden Drive, Philadelphia Drive, back, Boston, Massachusetts. So we were just, it was all driving distance. It wasn't really, you had to fly here, fly there, fly there.
Yeah.
But I guess at that time, I was pretty much in between both, the driving and the flying, because we were moving to other places.
Yeah.
At the time, Arizona, and we were going the West Coast,
California.
So I thought, wow, for all my people, that's where I grew up at. I grew up in San Francisco, the Cow Palace, my first time there. Oh man, it was so yeah. That's why I was missing those shows. I was just burnt. I made poor. There's no excuses for it. I just made poor decisions, and those are things that we have to learn as athletes, as human beings, as all you wrestling fans out there be watching. Just gotta watch the decisions you make, and you learn by mistake. I mean, us as adults, as athletes, as a father, as a parent, and as a friend, we make mistakes too.
Yeah.
So don't feel bad. We make mistakes, but keep going.
Now, when you got so burnt out, you started to talk about it a little bit earlier. Did you actually go to Vince and just say, I can't do this anymore, or did you just stop showing up?
I just stopped showing up.
Okay.
I actually got to just stop showing up. I didn't even go to him.
Okay.
I mean, that's how, I thought I had all this money. I thought I could lay back and retire and all this stuff, but it wasn't even so much about the money. You can have all the money in the world. You travel and drink every night and go. You can't even time to go to the gym. It was just, to me, that was abusing. I was abusing myself. You didn't really need drugs or alcohol to abuse you. Just that was abusing,
Yeah.
I didn't go to Vince. I just pretty much just got up and left. But I got a call from Vince. You better believe it. I got a call from him. I didn't show up. He was going to sue me for everything. So I showed up.
Wow. Oh, is that what happened? He told you?
Yeah. If I didn't show up, then, I got a call from him and I answered the phone. My dad answered the phone. It was in San Francisco. I never forget. And I got on the phone and he said, you got to come back. And if you don't, we're going to sue you. And that's where we set up at. But I don't know if it was the father I spoke to. The man, again, I was young. I don't know. But then I don't know if he just said to come back, we'll work something out, or, again, like I said, I was young. Yeah. I was young and I was just tired. I was pretty much just trying to get a day off, I guess.
Yeah.
And like I said, I was sorry for what happened, my mistake. Vince McMahon, something, hopefully gets another chance. Now I'm more mature, more grown now, and you make mistakes. So I'm hoping that, that I learned by it, that people will learn, that I will learn by my mistakes. So.
No, you did come back and you did some shots and came back and then you actually left for good. Well, for a while anyway. Did you when you left for good? Did you go to Vince and tell him, I need to get out, or? No,
he just.
Oh, he just stopped booking you, or?
It just stopped.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so once you finished out your dates, he just didn't give you any more?
Yeah, and I don't even know if it went to the dates, or I had to finish out the main of, the big house, you could say.
Gotcha.
Because back in those days, we wrestled in high schools too. I don't know if you remember.
Sure.
We were Brooklyn, we had high school.
Jersey.
So, but now we were going to bigger venues.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess after the big venues that I had, then I just failed out too.
Mm.
It's hard to remember back in the days because until this day, I still don't really know what really happened. I really like to know. I really like to sit down with Vince myself and talk to him about it and just to work out a second chat or just to come to agreement, because I don't want it to affect my kids if they happen to go to because my kids, Vince, they're good wrestlers too. Good looking boys, they're big, and hopefully one day you'll be able to take a look at them. I just don't want them to hold anything grudge against my kids for the father's mistakes.
Right.
So again, I don't know if I just left. I don't know if he called me and just said, you're done, or there's a story behind it. It's hard because this interview was 07 and that was back in
85.
So I'm sure I'll do another one. Let me see I'm sure I'll do another one. Our video. I'm sure I'll do another one somewhere, and I'll hopefully have everything written up in my paper. But right now, I'm going to just go with the flow.
There you go. Now, you wound up working in Canada for a little while. I saw some stuff you did up in Canada. How did you wind up going up there? Of all places, Canada.
Now, that goes back again. I don't know about, that was after Vince or?
Yes, after Vince.
Oh, so it was after Vince?
Yes.
Okay, this is where, this will fall right into place here. I'm going to take it back. After I left Vince, I was off for a while, then I ended up going to Canada, and it was Dino Bravo?
Dino Bravo.
Dino Bravo's company.
Yep.
Yeah, and who are the other two brothers that were from there?
Gino Brito was up there. Tony Parisi.
No, not those.
Oh, the Rougeos?
The Rougeos. They were here in WWF
yes.
too. Okay, they were there too. That's where I met those guys at.
Yes.
And it's funny, this is where I met my tag team partner.
We're going to talk about that. Yeah. You told up there for the first time.
Yeah, I was there. Yeah, it sure was. It sure was. You're right. Out of all places, I don't know. I guess it was just to either get away from. I actually wanted to try something different. I mean, the atmosphere there, and and being in Canada, and the food and the people and the different language, different type of money. It's not American money. They have Canadian money. I don't know what they call it. I know.
I know what you're talking about.
They had Canadian money.
Sure.
Mexico, their money is
the peso.
Called pesos, but Canada, they have their money. So. Mm-hmm. Again, I just want to try something different. It was in the summer. My cousin Samu was there, and I don't know how I ended up. I guess Dino. Oh, that's what happened. Dino Bravo called me. That's how I ended up there. And they brought me up there to work against King Tonga, because I'm sorry to bring it. I know you had the schedule to work with.
No, go.
But King Tonga was the hottest heel there, like Piper was here in New York.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. Did King Tonga come from there to here after?
Yes, he was.
I think he did after we did our thing.
You guys went.
I won another round, and he did end up coming.
Yep.
Here. Got you. Okay.
Yep. Do you have any memories of the matches you had with the Road Warriors up in Canada?
Yeah, they were pretty stiff. They were just some mean son of a bitches, in the ring, So, I mean, sorry for cussing, but they were just mean, mean boys, and. They hit me one time with that double tackle or that double clothesline.
Yeah.
Wrung my neck.
Wow.
I mean, but they were the hottest thing in Canada too. The Road Warriors. Besides King Tonga, because he was one of the top heels.
Yeah.
He had the karate pad. It was different. Me, I just came as the babyface, just like I did in New York.
Yeah.
And I was the babyface. I don't know if I had a tag team partner up there.
You tugged with a couple different guys. I think you tugged with Tony Parisi against the Road Warriors. You tugged with King Tonga.
Okay, we mixed it up a little bit, Yeah. And Samu was there too, my cousin, I think, right? And I stayed there. If I'm not, I was there probably a year or two. I think.
Yeah, you were there about a year.
About a year. So it was in the summer, going through the summer, the winter too a little bit, but not bad as the summer. But the summer was beautiful. Yeah, so God, a lot of those guys. Yeah, that's what I remember the Road Warriors. They were another good friend. I mean, like I said, you create good friends in this business, and then there's just also people in the business you call friends. They're not your friends.
Yeah.
And those are the ones you got to watch out for. I don't have a whole lot of names to throw out there because it'd be great for the fans to hear it because this is real. But just be careful. That's even besides wrestling. Even outside the street, out in school, in high school, or wherever, you have friends, you just be careful who you call friend.
Yeah.
I mean, that's reality, right?
Yeah.
But I had a great time in Canada. I loved it working there. It was something different.
Yeah. You worked with Larry Zbyszko on the Indies a little bit during that time period. I don't know if you remember your matches you had with Larry Zbyszko.
No, you know what? I do remember some of those, but I always thought with Larry Zbyszko, he was another OG. Right? He was an OG at the time. But again, I was Tonga Kid. I was young. I think all of that got exposure from New York City at the time, right? That's how all this has happened, where I got all the indies, right? Bookings. Not like the indies now. There's so many indies out there.
There was only a couple back then.
Yeah, back then there was only a couple you can do, but now there's a lot of them. They're everywhere. Backyard wrestling, all that. Don't do that. You don't want to go that far. But Larry Zbyszko, all I remember, I don't remember any matches about the matches about him, but I did remember who he is, who he was, the background, who he was, because he's another legend too. And again, these are guys that I would sit home and say, wow, I wrestled this guy before. I've been here before. So it was a catchy thing with him. And these guys are old school wrestlers, They don't have all those leapfrogs and flying headbutts, and all the stuff that Chris Benoit's doing now,
Right.
They don't have all those stuff they have. So it's totally different,
Now you did some shows for the AWA. What do you remember about Vern Gagne and working for Vern back then?
Well, I remember hanging out with the Freebirds.
Yeah, you wrestled them in the Meadowlands. You did a six-man with them in the Meadowlands.
Yeah, I remember hanging out with them. I don't know. I didn't know Gagne at the time, but the father, I guess it was like Vince's, senior and his son, and they were the same. But the Freebirds, I remember hanging out with them and wrestling for that company there because, again, I was just fresh off of the TV as well.
Mm-hmm.
And they used me as a babyface. And when I wrestled there at the Middleland, it was during the time of taping that movie.
Body Slam?
No, the Body Slam we didn't do yet. I don't think we went that far. No, we didn't do that yet. We did the taping the movie, the Middleland. It was called Highlander. The Highlander.
Okay.
The guy with the sword, you know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
That was doing that with the Freebirds.
Okay.
It was me and the son and I don't know, one of the other top babyface against
Jim Brunzell, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The killer, I think it was Brian too, wasn't it? The Killer Bee?
Well, yeah, he came later to WWF.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank God for you to be here to help me, yeah, because that's good you have them down because the Freebirds, they had their own three.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was me, and then the son, and then another cat you were talking about, Brian. Jumping, there you go, Jumping
Jim Brunzell.
Jumping Jim, Brian.
Yeah,
whatever
Jim.
they call them. He's another nice guy too.
Yeah. Now, when you worked for Vern up there, you did some Pro Wrestling USA shows. On Pro Wrestling USA on Vern's TV, you were still challenging Piper. Do you remember doing that? Or it was the oddest thing as a fan to see.
Yeah, it was strange. Again, like I said, I was young and I don't know if people was telling me to do that or you know what I'm saying. I don't know if there's this guiding from areas, just some bugs in my ears and that because Piper was still working for Vince at the time. Yeah. So I don't know if I had to do that. I don't know if they like I said in our wrestling world, we have politics in it too, and it's a lot. So a lot of these wrestlers. The only ones that know is what they're going to make the move are the promoters. And at the time, Vince trying to grab them, and then the time Gandhi trying to grab all of these guys. It was back and forth type of deal. No, I don't remember challenging Piper at that time. Being so young. Yeah.
And we started talking about it a little bit up in Canada when you started teaming with King Tonga, who would later be Haku, and you guys would have your success later. What do you remember about meeting him and teaming with him? Did you realize you guys had something special together when you teamed together in Canada?
Well, actually, now was he a babyface or a heel?
He turned. He was a heel and then he turned babyface.
Okay, and then I think one of those he maybe came out to help me somewhere. I think that's how that happened.
Up in Canada?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I never. We had something special before we tagged.
Okay.
Me and my partner until today. I can't wait to see him. I haven't seen him in 10 years.
Wow.
Since I left the Islanders from New York City, but we had something special before we left because all Island boys are like that. We stick together, like I told you earlier about the respect and where we're from and stuff like that.
Sure. But
wrestling is just a business. It's a business, a job, and just like any other job. Well, I take that back. Not like any other job. We pretty much get people's ass for a living.
Yeah.
But he was when I tagged with him, he was a great guy. Like I said, that was the first time I met him up there. And when I met him, it wasn't in the ring, it was in the dressing room. I already knew the story about him. I already knew what the top heel was, and these Canadians kept talking about him. But then also I heard a lot of other things that he's a bad son bitch boy. He kicked your ass in the bar. I mean, he was strong. Yeah. He wasn't just in the ring, but outside of the ring, that he kept his respect and. He beat up a lot of people. I mean, I've seen him beat up 8 cops, and he's a strong, powerful dude. He was...
Were you there the night that he bit somebody's nose off in the bar?
I wasn't there. No. You know what? I got to ask him when I see him, because I don't know if he bit it because of me. I was there when he choked the shit out of Brutus Beefcake.
What happened? I've heard different versions of that story.
Yeah, I heard it. Yeah, there was let me go back. Philadelphia. We were tagging the Islanders. And they were working against Greg Valentine. No. Yeah, Greg the Hammer Valentine. Yeah. They were called the Dream Team or
Dream Team.
Yeah, whatever was managed. And I guess we were chopping him too hard, and he went back and told Vince, that we were chopping him too hard, and I guess my partner heard about it, and we had the letter, or they came to us and told us something that Beefcake was, said something about chopping him too hard or something like that. I don't know, whatever the story was. Well, all I remember is. So inside the ring, during the matches, we were doing this, and then when we came out the dressing room, we heard that rumor. So Tonga walks all the way across to the baby face, walked straight across to the baby face. He was in the shower, and he snatched him by the throat, and he held him up against the wall.
Wow.
And everybody tried to break it. I was there because I was ready to kick his ass too. I was actually watching his back, my Tonga's back. I don't think he needs anybody to watch his back because everybody knew that was Alpha Sika's nephew. Me, talking about me.
Yeah.
They already knew who I was. And I was there to, protect, they didn't want to mess with me because if they did mess with me, they figure, well, they're going to have to get it from the Wild Samoans and they don't want to deal with those guys. That's their nephew,
Right.
But he choked them in the dresser. He choked them in the shower. Then he had them like about 2.5 feet off the ground.
Wow.
With just his two bare hands. And he held them up and he was like, couldn't breathe. And so I guess one of the agents couldn't get him off. No wrestlers could have got him off. And I was just giggling away like, yeah, choke him.
Yeah.
So they ran across the hall and got Hogan.
Yeah.
Because he said that was his brother at the time. I guess till today he still say that his brother. They're brothers.
Right.
Well, he say his brother. I don't think Hogan ever mentioned his brother. Come find out later, he's not his brother.
Yeah.
So Hogan came over and talked. Come on, brother Tonga. Well, he had respect for Hogan.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't? Hogan's the legend of business, and so he calmed them down and he let him go. But all that started because he started to cry back to the office and said that we were chopping him too hard.
Wow.
I said, well, then you're in the wrong business. And you're in the wrong business. You don't need to be in the business. If you can't take a chop, then you're in the wrong business, which is true.
Yeah.
And anything in your body, the biggest muscle in your body are your thighs and your chest. Man, examine yourself.
Yeah.
That's the biggest muscle you have, is your chest and your thighs. Those are the only two biggest muscles in your body. How can you, look at how Blair's chopping guys now.
Everybody, yeah.
Look how, Chris Benoit will probably vibrate your body the way he chops.
McDaniel back in the day.
Yeah, that was some hard chop. But there's no way you can hurt you unless you really hit you in your chest and your heart stops, but that's gotta be some serious chopping for you to do that. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
That's how that ended up. That was funny. To me, it was funny. So,
yeah. What do you remember about making Body Slam?
It's fun.
Yeah.
I remember a lot of things about Body Slam. I really loved the movie business because it's my first movie, and I some of the wrestlers I really knew who they were. It was awkward to see some of Vern Gagne's guys there and some of Vince's guys there. Yeah. Because they had some of Vern Gagne's guys there and some of Vince's guys there. So I was like looking out like, wow, okay, I guess these guys are going to come to an agreement, the promoter. Right. Because everybody's taking over territory at the time. So at the time, I'm thinking back, okay, well, they took me in, they called me in. I met it through Cyndi Lauper. You guys remember when she used to come to Madison Square Garden? She was part of the Mr. T deal or whatever. WrestleMania. And that's how we met her. Yeah, that's how I met her through that. And then they decided to do a rock and roll wrestling, which is called Body Slam. Dave Wolf came in and got a hold of us. Oh, okay. Cyndi Lauper's manager. And we went to Hollywood, San Bruno, California, where we shot the film for a whole month. I think it was a month and a half, somewhere out there. Oh, it was fun, brother. I met all these other celebrities. What is the guy that played the 18? Dirk Benedict. Yes. Yeah. That's what I met him. Oh, he was great. And then the lady, too, the blonde, it was his girlfriend. She's one of the top actors there, too. Until now, she's still a top actor. I'm blanking out. Yeah, she played that movie Tarzan. She was one of Tarzan's girls. Oh, okay. Yeah, so, again, she goes with different names, but there's only one people remember her. I remember Dirk Benedict and Roddy, of course. Yeah. I was a coach. I was young, and I thought in the movie I could have been a little bit more me, but, but they had these scripts, and then they had these... what do you call these producers? Right. And then everything had that, but I wish they would have just told us to be, I was in the ring, you get to act, you got 33 minutes or 2 minutes to act and you're done. Yeah. But the movie's like, you have to do cuts and cuts, but it's fun. I had a room full of food. We had our own trailers. Dave Wolf brought us in, brought us to Alpha and Sika, and we filmed everything. Yeah. I met the two bald-headed guys I wrestled that looked like the Road Warriors, the Barbarian. Remember him? Sure. And the other kid there, I think was from L.A. Okay. He wasn't a wrestler. Just an actor. He was just a big actor, and he had to tag with the Barbarian. But the Barbarian actually Tonga's cousin. Oh, okay. And I get along great. That's right. Yeah. Yeah. They called him the Barbarian. I think that's his wrestling name, right? Yeah. And he was part of the movie, so he was good. It was fun. It was an experience. And it's fun, but I can always say to my kids, I did a movie.
That is a movie.
I think the DVD I'm doing now here with you guys, this is pretty much like my 6th DVD I did yet.
Wow.
But never digged into something really deep like we did this one here today.
Awesome. Now, how did you wind up coming back to the WWF as part of the Islanders?
Actually, they ended up, I think they ended up calling me back.
Really?
They told me I was one of the luckiest wrestlers in the world. You leave 3 times, you turn around, and you come back, and there's no way that could have happened, you know.
Yeah.
But I just needed that time off. I really, if you notice, when I came back in '90, I was fresh.
Mm-hmm.
See how
Definitely.
fresh I was. Totally fresh. I was young again. I was just. It's like I had more rest. I must have slept for a month. I just ate and slept. It just feels good laying on the bed, just like your buddy right there laying out, stretched out, you know.
Yeah.
But it was great. I mean, it was just like, and that's what we needed. I think a lot of wrestlers needed that. They just needed a little time off.
Yeah.
And when we came back, and that was another good act. It was great to be the Islanders. It reminded me back when I was tagging with Snuka. But as the time went, it was a different crowd, different wrestling match. You know? And then we had that crazy ass dog Matilda biting everybody. And that dog really bit us. I'm gonna tell you the truth. That was the one popular dog too.
Yeah.
I don't know whatever happened to that dog, but I got the collar.
Yeah.
I have that collar.
Yeah.
I still have that collar since we have with the Bulldog. Those were one of the greatest teams we ever wrestled. Dynamite and Davey Boy Smith. And I heard Dynamite was pretty in bad shape. This is just, wrestlers talk. It's like a soap opera. These wrestlers, and I heard he was out there in Italy, and of course Davey Boy passed away. So I have tapes that I would sit back, like you mentioned with Piper.
Yeah.
I have tapes where I watch me and Haku versus all the Road Warriors, the British Bulldogs, the Strike Force, the Killer Bees.
Hart Foundation.
The Hart. Now, people always ask me, I don't know, it's probably on your list. What was the greatest tag team match you ever had? Mm-hmm. This is the question that I've always get. From all the tag team matches that I've mentioned to you, was the Hart Foundation, the British Bulldogs, and then the Hart Foundation.
Wow.
But I can't say that. I have to say both because they were equal. You have Bret Hart as a speed, quickness. Then you had what's his name, Neidhart as the power. Yeah. So you have me as a speed, and then you have Haku as the power, and then you got Dynamite Boy as a speed. Yeah. See, then you got Davey Boy as a power. So if you looked at the balance, it was about right there. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? But I was young, and at the time it was great. I mean, I love tag matches. It was just because we were looking over our head and seeing all these tag teams. Yeah. Who were going to hold the belt. No, I wish we would have got the tag team belts, But again, I probably messed that up too again, probably got in late or something. But you get fined for stuff like that, They got to give the belt to somebody they can trust, somebody, because you're representing the company. But I always seem to pull the rabbit out the hat. I've always mentioned to sneak through the back door and get it. Sometimes I get in a half hour late, they'll find you. But it was hard, like you said earlier, the temptation and being young. And when I came back, so I was the luckiest wrestler in the world until this day. But I'm sure I have another opportunity to go back again for 07. So I just keep letting Vince know that I'm ready and it's out here if you need it.
Did you find less pressure this time around? Working, in the middle of the card in the tag matches rather than being in the main events with Piper and Orton and everything. Did you find it less pressure on you? Yeah. It was, like I said, it was fun. Yeah. It was more fun this time around? Yeah, because I didn't carry the load. I didn't have to worry about this. If I missed a show, oh, well, it's just a semi. Right. Or it's just, like you said, in the middle. Yeah. But if you're a main event and you're missing shows, it's a big deal. Yeah. Vince is calling you up and threatening to sue you. Yeah. Either that or just don't come to work, or they'll come up with some story. They'll come up with something to tell the fans. Yeah. I mean, because, your fans are pretty much the one that pay our bills. They're the one that pay our bills, and they pay the ticket, they buy the ticket. So you got to keep them happy, But never in a million years you'd think that Vince knows what he knows right now. But again, he's a genius. Yeah. And I just wish, like I said, he'll see one day, or he'll buy this DVD and look at it and say, hey, Vince, you can buy some of these DVDs. You got some money,
give it a shot at it. You know, it's not gonna hurt the tag because I've always wanted to tag with my brother Rikishi.
Okay.
You know, I wanted to tag with my brother Umaga. So my big goal was to tag with any of my brothers before anything ever happens to me or happens to them. It's just a reunion.
Yeah.
Dye his hair blonde, dye my hair blonde, tag us up. Two big Rikishi with big asses.
Yeah.
Braid my hair and then braid Umaga's hair, bring us both out as a tag. There's all kind of ways you can use the Samoan family.
Sure.
You know what I mean? I mean, that's pretty much what brothers usually have in the business now that are tagged, besides Bret Hart, who lost his brother.
Yeah, the Hardys.
The Hardys. See, so the real brothers, you
Yeah.
know, and Shawn, Michael, well, he's not, this other guy, that's not his brother.
Nah.
But see, we're brothers. And if I walk down the airport now, I have people call me Umaga, and I have people call me Rikishi.
Yeah.
My hair braided or hair pulled back, either way, because they look at us, but we're brothers.
Yeah.
How can you not call me that when they're my brothers?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So those are the things that I'm hoping that it will happen one day. And hopefully God will answer our prayers and Vince give us a chance to tag back up again, or just bring us all three in together and, you know, bring the Samoans back and you know, because we're still young.
Yeah.
I mean, I just turned 40. I'm still in good shape. I can go.
Did you like traveling with Haku?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, he keeps me in line too. He's just like Alfonsica.
Oh, was he?
Yes, but he was a little more commanding. He was because I was his tag team partner. It's an investment.
Yeah.
If you screw up, then I screw up. Something happens to me. So yeah, it was really fun traveling. I'm excited to see him. Like I said, I can't wait to see him because you hear nothing but good, humble. All the island guys are, but of course, you know, other island boys, I'm sure you heard this story. When we start drinking beer and we start fighting each other.
Get crazy.
We get crazy. So you better be on our good side, or you actually better buy me a beer and be on our good side, you know. So you don't want to piss any island boys off while they're drinking.
How come when you guys came in, you know, the Islanders came into the WWF, how come you guys wrestled as baby faces but were turned real quickly to heels?
You know, I don't know how that happened. Like, I truly believe maybe it wasn't getting over.
Okay.
I don't think the baby face was getting over. So maybe they seen something else that we didn't see. But I was really glad they turned me babyface.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry.
Heel.
I was really glad they turned me heel because I love that character heel.
Yeah.
I mean, you see how we exploded when we came heel?
Sure.
And then they threw Bobby Heenan in our corner?
Yeah.
So, because the time we came out, it was just us.
Mm-hmm.
It was just us. We had no... So I think they had too many. They figured they would make an Asian heels, and they keep the other people baby faces, meaning like the Killer Bees, and you keep the Strike Force and the British Bulldogs. I mean, you can't have British Bulldogs heels,
right?
So you can't have the Strike Force. They look like models, you know.
Right.
I mean, it's just then. But here's this big, ugly. You know, we had the speed and everything, so. I think they tried it out, then they didn't feel it, so they needed a heel right away. But I think we took off as a heel.
Yeah.
So it was good on our side. I thought it was, because there was too many baby faces and there was no room for us.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, oh, definitely.
There was no room for us. So whoever made that call, I thought it was a great call. Maybe it was, I can't say the name because I don't know, maybe Vince looked at it and say, well, maybe, you know, we turned you down, maybe it was our time. Yeah. Because you're right, we wasn't babyface for a long time.
No, not at all.
But once they turned us and they gave us the manager and we started running our mouth and beating people up, I mean, I just thought we took off as a heel.
Yeah.
We were one of the great I think till today we were one of the great tag teams in the world too. Me and Haku, because we went with the Bulldogs, we went with the Hart Foundation, went with the Road Warriors, and you know, we just every team you can imagine, we was facing them. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it was great. It was great. I'm glad that it worked out great for both parties, you know.
Now, you talked a little bit about Matilda, the old bulldog. Did Matilda ever, like, bite you guys or, like, pee in the ring? And
shit it in the car, the rental car, the Bulldog's car. Excuse my language again, you know. And the dog peed in the dressing room. And that dog is constantly sleeping all the time. He's constantly sleeping. He wakes up and they rub their shorts on, you know, our shorts, and so they can smell it. She can smell it. Yeah. And they nearly have to kick her to go and bite it. But after a couple shows, I knew exactly what to do to piss that dog off. You know what I'm saying? I'll try to kick her before, that was my thing.
Yeah.
My partner's not going to run.
Yeah.
I think I seen him choke that dog one day. I nearly choked him, nearly passed out, I was like, jeez. I said, but yeah, the dog Matilda was, we started to come up where we stole the dog, and then we started to come out with our chain with this invisible.
Oh, right.
I don't know if you guys
yeah.
That's the thing I have, I said, and people always ask us, man, you guys have a lot of these old, but it's just like Beirut, right? The baseball player he's got all these stuff throughout the world that just hold on to, because one day there's our collectors out there, that'll love that.
Collectors now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're right. With the cars and pretty much anything out there,
Yeah.
But yeah, Matilda was a bad dog, man. These guys would leave her out in the cold sometimes. Poor thing. I would feel sorry for it sometimes. And the one thing, I didn't know if it was a girl or a boy, though. These guys never told me. They would beat her up, that poor dog. He's been through. Now, you think we've been hitting the road and traveling a lot? That dog would travel a lot, too. And those two, Dynamite and David Boy, would fight all the time. You take care of her. No, you take her to your room. You take her, some hotels, you're not allowed pets.
Yeah.
These guys take them in there anyways.
Yeah.
But they were funny. Those were one funny tag teams, too.
They were known, a lot of the other guys that we've done interviews with, they said the Bulldogs were ribbers. Do you remember them ever, ribbing you guys in the middle of a match or anything? Just have fun?
Yeah, they were ribbers, too. But their type of ribs were a little different than Mr. Fuji's ribs, too. I mean, everybody had different ribs. Yeah. But, their ribs are usually like the words when they hit you, that's Dynamite's favorite thing. Daddy. That was his favorite word all the time. Poor guy. I just, hopefully one day I'll be able to see all these, some of the guys I can't because they passed away, but the ones that are still alive today, like the reunion we're having tomorrow. Yeah. It's going to be, to me, it's going to be an honor for me just to see the guys that I've worked with, Yeah. I mean, this guy passed away. I used to work with him. Eddie Guerrero passed away. I used to work with him. Yeah. This is my attitude toward. I used to work with these guys. Matter of fact, I just wrestled Boss Man. You know whose Boss Man's last match was? Was it against you? Me. It was against me. We wrestled in Arizona. Wow. In a small town in Arizona. It was for Ted DiBiase, and it was up there right after we did this big old reunion thing for the Christian church, and we went up there with Ted DiBiase and his crew, and I wrestled Big Boss Man. Wow. That's the last time that I was the last person to wrestle him. I'm thinking I was, because he passed away like a week ago. There's no way you're going to wrestle on a Saturday and then go Friday when you pass away. Right. I don't think you can, but I was the last one that wrestled him, man. I feel sorry for him too as well. But he was a great guy too. Boss Man would get, like I said, there's a lot of good wrestlers in our business today. And there's also a lot of Madonnas, you can say, big-headed, I don't know if I can say, asshole in the business, Yeah. I mean, which is true. I mean, this is what this is about. You're speaking the truth, and they need to know that this is the truth of what we go through in life, Yeah. But the Bulldogs are one of the great tag teams again, just to go back to that. So, what do you remember about Bobby Heenan as your manager back then? What are your thoughts on Bobby? Bobby was Bobby. It was all. Is that a good thing or is that a bad thing? Well, it was all for Bobby. Okay. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he was pretty much told what he was supposed to do. I mean, you know what I'm saying? If you drink Bobby's cold beer, you get snitched on and you get stooged out, I mean, we never rode with him. He did his thing, and me and my partner did. The only time we seen him is when we seen him at the arenas, at the TV. That was it. Yeah. He don't dress with us or nothing. Bobby was Bobby. Some of the guys that Bobby managed said Bobby was all about himself, getting himself over and not his guys. That's what I meant by Bobby's Bobby. Yeah. Bobby's all for himself. Wow. What do you remember of the matches that you guys had with Strikeforce? Good Tito matches. And Martel. Good matches. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. There's not one team out there that's probably going to cover that list you have in front of you. They're going to say with some time is all good matches. Yeah. As I'm speaking, I'm trying to go back because there's teams that there's some matches you have with that you have tagged like the Road Warriors because they're both powerful dudes. Right. Everything is power, but there's no actions, right? Yeah. It's just all power. But the Strikeforce had speed, and there were the time Tito Santana and Rick Martel, and I hope I could be able to see those guys too. But those guys were good. They're just good looking dudes. Yeah. Long hair. nice physique body, just like we were when I was young, you know, and they were babyface. So we had some good matches with them too. But at the time, we try to have good matches with everybody because every tag team is different. They'll say, "Oh man, we have better matches with the Islanders," or with the Hart Foundation said, "We got to wrestle the Road Warriors." Oh man, why don't we wrestle the Islanders? So it's like everybody trying to get a piece of us because when you're born to be a wrestler and you have the talent, and God has blessed you with this talent, then use it. Yeah. Don't throw it away. If you got talent, then use it. And that's exactly what we did. We can actually wrestle with any tag team. Yeah. Any tag team that they give us, we can try to make the best out of it. There's some tag team they give us that it's just hard. You can't do it. Yeah.
Did you find yourself during this time? Did you find yourself ever starting to burn out like you did in the early '80s?
No. I'm actually, like I said, I used to talk to myself when I travel. Say I don't miss any of this, but I lie. I did miss it, but I have more time on my hands now because as a family man, like we spoke about earlier, my kid is being the role model, the leader, and just being there for your kids and you're not on the road 27 days a week, and you know what I mean. So if I wrestle now like 4 or 5 days a month, and that's good for me. Yeah. And you make too much money, then you might have problems. You might have problems again or backflash, But you keep it at a good limit and be happy with it because we have lives. Yeah. We have lives at home. Besides what we're doing here, we have lives that when you leave here, you have a life. Some people have a lot of money, don't have a life. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's just miserable. Yeah. Now I'd rather have no money and have a life and be poor, but be joyful, be happy, don't have to worry about all that stress. People don't have that, you have joy in your heart. You gotta, and those are some of the things that some of these athletes don't have. They don't run things. They believe that, their shit don't stink. They believe that they're the man, they're gonna call the shots and you're gonna do what I tell you to do. Okay.
Do you think you were happier here or happier with the Snuka Piper run?
I'm actually happier now.
But with the Islanders, were you happier with the like just between those two runs?
I was happy with both runs. I was happier with both runs, but the first one with the Snuka, I didn't know where I was going. Yeah, I was like in the blind, but I was happy. I was happy with both runs because I love them both. Yeah, they're both great, good guys, and I was happy with both runs. I just believe that, timing's everything. You know what I'm saying? And those guys were good guys. So I'm happy with both sides.
Gotcha. Now, who was in the team with Haku? Who was more the captain of the team as far as like calling matches? Was it you or was it Haku?
Well, I can say me because a lot of the stuff I call it, but he was the powerhouse. Okay. But, when we're in the ring, like you said, if I can call double, because some things you do, you got to do it now. You can't, you have to double hit, but double. So I've called a lot of the stuff. My partner calls a few stuff like that, but, basically me, I was hyper too, I was on fire. Yeah. It was like the greatest, because I didn't tag. By the time I got through with Snuka's tag, again, I didn't know a whole lot about the tag, but I was green. Yeah. By the time I got as an Islander, I was already prepped up with being tags because I already knew what I need to do, as a babyface. I've never wrestled as a heel. It's the first time I've ever wrestled a heel. It's when they turned us on the Islanders. Wow. So I was happy on both sides, but it was an experience with Snuka and an experience to learn. And then when you come on the Haku side, and you sort of grow a relationship with him, and then you sort of know. We were both captain. He was captain out the ring, and I was captain in the ring.
That makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. How come Siva Afi? He had like a couple matches with you guys as part of the Islanders, and then he was gone. Like, what happened with that? Do you remember?
I really don't. I don't even know how you even got fitted in. Because it
was weird.
Yeah, it was. I really didn't know how you got fitted in because. See, Laffy was nowhere compared to what we were doing, but he's a great guy too. Mm-hmm. He was there at the right time, the right place. They just used him they had him for other angles. But you're right. Sometimes it came. I don't know at the time because he would tag with me. Sometimes he would tag with Tonga. Yeah, it was that. Right?
And the three of you guys would sometimes do.
They would try to make it work with him, but I think in his case he didn't have or maybe they were looking to see who to pick out the 3.
Okay.
You know, maybe that was
try something different.
Yeah, maybe that's what they're doing, or try to pick out the 2 out of the 3, or maybe use the 3. Or then I heard that Siva didn't have a lot of charisma. His wrestling didn't have a charisma. I don't know. Do you think?
I would totally agree with that.
I don't think he had the charisma what they were looking for.
Yeah.
And when they seen the power with Tonga, then they seen the speed with me, so they figured, oh, well, okay, well, then we'll get rid of him, and then we'll keep these 2.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what they did, like a handpicked thing. So
yeah, I would definitely agree with that statement about the charisma. So how come you wound up leaving WWF again this time?
Okay, let me see. 1, 2. I'm left like 4 times.
Yeah.
How many times did I leave? Did I leave about 4 times?
I guess like 3. I have 3 down.
Okay.
Maybe there's a 4th.
Well, maybe this is probably the 4th, and then maybe it is a 3. I guess I don't. You know what? Bad choices again. You know, I mean, we had a chance to become the tag team champions. WWF Tag Team Champions. It was right at the palm of our hands. And I can say I screwed that up again too.
Wow.
I came in late or something, or just, you know, just making bad choices. Maybe I thought I was the shit. I was it. And a lot of that grows with when you have a character, you try to leave it, leave it at work instead of taking it home. But I think I took it home too.
Mm.
And that's where it backfired. And I took it, then I got big hit. Then I got big headed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then all that just came collapsing like, well, I'll never get fired, or I don't have to worry about another meal the next day or the next. Come to look at it now, I feel bad because now there's people out there that they are worried about their meals for the next day. Here, I just took I just didn't have a good guidance. I was back to the leaders again, you know.
Yeah.
But I was making good money too as an Islander again, and
we
were hot, and we were just right at the peak of getting the belt from the belts. The Strike Sports had them.
Yes. They traded them with Demolition a couple times.
The Strike Sports had them.
Yeah.
And this is where we came in. But then again, that's how the Demolition. I forgot about those guys. Yeah. Their characters a little bit like the Road Warriors. I didn't, like their character because it was. I think the Warriors faded out. I think, and that's when those guys came in, right? Is that how that worked?
They came in while the Warriors were still in the NWA, and Vince had his version.
Okay.
They had theirs.
That's how they. Okay, that's where they came in. Okay.
Yeah.
But, I think I ended up, again, I made a mistake, so we learned from it. So.
Did you burn out, or was it just something else, or?
No, I actually just that run that we had there. I was thinking we wasn't promised so many things, and I probably just got tired of the bullshit.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It had nothing to do with just. You get promised. It's like what's going on with Kobe today,
Yeah.
And even the LA Lakers, So
yeah.
it had to be something like that. It wasn't nothing bigger than it was when I was with, Snuka. But
yeah,
either way, I came back. So, and then this time I left, and when I left as an Islander, I didn't go back.
Yeah.
And this is where I'm sitting here now.
Yeah. Do you remember if you actually said I quit, or you just stopped going?
I just stopped. I just had to call my. One thing I had to do is to make peace with Haku.
Yeah.
With my partner, tell him that I wasn't coming back, and I felt bad with him because when I left, they must have made him the king or something.
Yeah, they did.
They had the crown on his head. They had so many things they did with him, right?
Yeah.
Or actually, that was it. Just the King Tonga.
Yeah, they just.
Then they went to Harley Race, remember?
Right.
So I that's probably the only thing that I feel bad. I mean, I like I said, I made a mistake, and hopefully it was all me, but hopefully, it all worked out for the best on both sides or both parties. And I just hope that, like I said earlier, Vince will forgive you can only get mad for so long, right?
Right.
And he's a businessman and he's good at it. So hopefully get another chance because I can run another 10 more years. I feel great. I'm feeling one of the greatest shape in my life. I feel great about myself, and I had a lot of time to rest. So, and I sort of budget my work. So my thing was to make peace with King Haku before I left. And to call him up and tell him, I was sorry, and that's what I did.
Was he surprised when you said I'm leaving?
I think he was shocked. I think he was pretty more pissed.
Yeah.
He's pissed off.
Yeah.
Or upset because, when you come to WWF Tag Team Champions of the World, sure the money goes up a little bit. You get a little bit more money.
Sure.
And we were right at the peak, and he felt like. I think Haku sort of felt where I hurted him there, and he's right. I take the blame for it.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to do it on not that I wasn't thinking about him too. I was just thinking about myself.
Yeah.
And that's where the ignorant comes in and stuff. Now I was already in the game now. See, I already passed all the other stuff. So I'm moving up now, right?
Right. Huh. Wow. How was Vince Jr. at that time? How was he different from his father when his father ran things? Did you like working for Jr.?
Yeah. I love working for Vince Jr. Yeah. The only thing he followed his dad's same footsteps and stuff.
Yeah.
It's just his dad mostly ran everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
When he was alive, but he was mostly just doing, like we said earlier, the commentating and doing behind the scenes stuff. But I think when his dad passed away, he had a totally different vision for it.
Yeah. And when you were an Islander, he was running everything.
Yeah. Oh, he was running. That's what I'm saying. He probably had he already probably had a script written out where he was going with this. You know what I'm saying? So whatever promise he made with other people or whatever promise he made with his dad, whatever, but he took it to the next level. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And he made a lot of wrestlers millionaires. He made a lot of wrestlers, to become where they're at now. Made them who they are. Yeah. I can say he made me. Yeah. So, but I worked for it. I worked with every little bit. I worked hard for it, Yeah. Because, TV can make you and break you. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
I think it can. So. And that's where it ended up. But it wasn't that was the only difference I seen in Vince Jr. Yeah, the father was great. They were both great, but they both had their own different visions with it, with the how they were running their business. Yeah. It's a family business. Look at their son Shane's in it now, and the daughter's in it. So it's a family thing, just like the Samoan Outlaws, just like us,
Yeah. When you left, did as an Islander, did Junior try and call you to get you to come back like his father did?
No. I'm actually I've just been calling them and just leaving messages and just I have dreams. We all have dreams. Sure. Like Martin Luther King said, "Do you have a dream? We have a dream." I always had a dream, and sometimes I have visions. Now, when I come up with visions, I try to share it with them. I try to call them, and let them know that I think this would be great. And this to do that, but they say you got to keep other wrestlers. Say you got to call them every day. Call them, but hey, the phone bill's not cheap either. They going up. You call every day. It adds up. Yeah. But eventually, not here in New York, hopefully get pound on their door a little bit. They're right down the street.
That's true.
Or New Jersey, we're not too far, so a 40-minute drive. So you never know. You might get a pound at the door.
Did you go up when your uncles got inducted in the Hall of Fame?
No.
Oh, you didn't go?
No, but we watched them on TV.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, actually, I didn't watch the interview. I watched the WrestleMania when my brother's first WrestleMania.
Oh, right.
Yeah, that's his first one. Umaga's first WrestleMania.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
Let's go back in. But I watched them on the stage there, but I didn't catch their interview. Like Dusty had a great interview. Dusty Rhodes, one of the great. One of the great mouthpiece, just like The Rock.
Yeah.
Just. If you're a good talker, you're going to sell. I can say I was blessed with that too. I'm a good talker too, but this is not an interview. This is a shoot interview. This is who we are. Yeah. This is, you know what I mean? So, he had a good, I haven't seen Alpha and Sika on the stage speaking that. I just seen them during the show. Yeah. They were all standing. I forgot most of the other guys were there. But yeah, I watched them. I didn't go, but I seen my cousins there. Yeah. And I seen my cousin Vanessa and my brother-in-law Sonny. I seen Samu and Lloyd and Monica. All my cousins were all there. So that was all their kids. Sika had kids, and he's got a son that plays for Georgia Tech. Yeah. Yeah, Sika Joe. They call him Big Joe now. So
I think he's in the NFL now. I think. He graduates going into the
NFL. He's playing for Georgia Tech. He's a tackle. Yeah. Number 96, I think it was, right?
I know it's 90 something.
96. I think it's 96, but I know he'll do it. And I told him, and if you're watching this too, boy, you said that if you ever make it up there, then I will be part of because I love the barbecue. They'll tell you I love to grill. Samoan, we love to eat, right? Yeah. So he got drafted into the NFL.
I think he signed as a free agent. I think he signed as a free agent after the draft.
Oh, okay. Then that's where he ended up here. Because I watched the draft too, but one of his other buddies got signed up for the NFL, number 21 from Georgia Tech. Okay. The wide receiver. See,
I think he was number 2 or number 3.
Yeah. I don't know their names, but I know the numbers because, it's hard. It's hard. As I had surgery a couple months ago, I had an eye surgery. and I had a cornea transplant.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and this is all from the wrestling. And then see my teeth, and then you fans, I have teeth in my bag. But D'Lo Brown kicked my teeth out.
Did he really?
Yeah, he hit me with a chair, knocked out all my teeth at the Samoan Flag Day in Carson, California. So we do a lot of shows too ourselves. You know, me and my brother Keish and my cousin Black Pro, we do a lot of shows, and we help, you know, do shows for fundraisers and stuff like that. So helping out the communities, Samoan communities and stuff like that. So we have shows we do out there too.
Wound up in WCW as the Samoan Savage.
Yeah.
What do you remember about Jim Herd as the booker at the time?
You know what? I heard about him. You know, I heard about him. I know who he was. I didn't really have a relationship with him at all. You know what I mean? Yeah. I was just there at the time where I was out in Puerto Rico at that time. Man, my eyes are red, but that was a hell of a nap. I was in Puerto Rico at the time until my brother, you know, Rikishi and Samu, my cousin Samu and my brother Rikishi was there at the time. And that's what Ted Turner's company. Yes. And that's how I ended up there working for those guys, because my brother, they were called the Samoan SWAT team at the time. And they brought me in. They were the hot team up there too against the Steiners. Yeah. So those guys brought me in up there, and then that's when I got my break with that company. Yeah. Yeah. So it was fun. Now, why did Samu leave? Because eventually it was just you and Fatu teaming. I you know, and then again, I don't really know what happened in that part. I think he had some falling out with the bookers. Okay. Or maybe that guy that you mentioned earlier. Jim, yeah, but you know, I don't, you know, again, I don't know. I just happened to be at the right place again at the right time. Yeah. Just coming in from Puerto Rico. I was working out there with Carlitos and Carlos, you know, those guys company. I forgot the name of the company, but WWC? Yeah, WCCW. I was out there with those guys, but I came to Atlanta and I was on my way to Frisco, and I just, you know, again, time was everything. I went and I watched their show, and I guess something happened to Samu, so they tagged me and my brother for a while, then they brought him back, and then I think I went single, again. You went single for a little while. Yeah, a little while as a Samoan Savage. Mm-hmm. Right? And that's when, I think, who was our manager? Who the hell was that? Paul Heyman? No, not him. Paul Heyman was manager in my brother, the Samoan SWAT team. Yeah. Who was managing me? Humperdinck. Oh, okay. Wasn't it Oliver Humperdinck? I think it was, yeah. I think it was. He was only manager, what's his Bigelow? Name? Bam Bam Bigelow. Yeah, at the time, Bigelow. Yeah, yeah. So, well, then again, yeah, I think he manager, or was it? I think it was Humperdinck. Yeah, it was him, the manager. Me. Yes, I think so. Not the Samoan SWAT team. Paul Lee managed the Samoan SWAT team. Paul Lee manager. Dave managed you. All right. Okay, that's how that worked out. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And you had some matches with Dr. Death, Steve Williams. Yes, you remember them? Yes, we had some great. I had some great matches with him. You know, out there. In the meantime, that's when the Samoan SWAT team was battling out the Steiners and the Road Warriors, and I was battling out whoever they gave, you know, whoever they threw out. But Dr. Death wasn't a small dude either. No, he was a pretty well-known name and pretty well, you know. At the time, I had to earn my respect, so I had to do what I had to do, and that's kick ass. You guys threw down together, too. It's real stiff matches. Yeah, yeah. We were in some of those big pay-per-view matches, too, and some of the ones that we did. So, it turned out okay. Yeah. Now, eventually, you did move into the Samoan SST spot when Samu left for a little while. What do you remember with Paulie Dangerously, Paul Heyman as your manager? Well, I remember a lot of things about him. He runs his mouth too damn much. He'd say one thing and not do another, you know. But, you know, they gave me the chance there, and then it was great tagging up with my brother. You know, I mean, whoever they tag us with, Samu, whoever, they don't realize that it's pretty much the same. Yeah. You know, because, you know, group again, we're cousins, we're Samoan, we're brothers, and we sort of know each other, you know, in the ring and out the ring. So it was great. Yeah. And you had some matches yourself with the Road Warriors where you teamed with your brother against the Road Warriors. Yeah, those were all the good matches too, you know. It's just like bringing up the old WWF days again, you know what I mean? But except this time I'm tagging with my brothers and my cousins. Yeah. You know, like Jimmy Snuka was just a good friend from the island, just different, you know, places of the island, South Pacific. Yep. Haku was the same way, King Tonga. He's from another island in South Pacific, but, you know, South Pacific, but different islands, different places. Sure. And this was an honor for me to be tag team with my cousin and my brother Fatu and my cousin Samoan.
What are your thoughts on the matches you guys had with Steiners? You had some good matches with Steiners too.
I think we had great matches with them. I mean, it was like, I think we could have won we should have won the best match of the years. I'm talking about just tag matches. At the time the Road Warriors were there too, but they were pretty much established. Us coming in fresh as Samoan SWAT team. I mean, that was a hell of a, it wasn't even a gimmick. That's who we were. Yeah. I mean, it wasn't like they told us to take our shoes off. We don't have to wrestle with our shoes. We wrestled without our shoes for a long time. We grew up in the business like this without our shoes. So, but the Road Warriors, it was great. It was outstanding matches with those guys. Again, it was power versus power again. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, it was great. The guys are good. Atlanta was a different atmosphere. Different type of crowd, surrounded in different, environment, different than other territories and other promoters and other companies that we work for.
Is it fair to say that these matches were more a style you enjoyed because they were tighter, they were harder hitting than what you might have had in WWF?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, it is. It was a little tighter because you're colliding two big semis together. You know what I mean? 218 wheelers. I mean, it was about fair because you got the Steiners are pretty much the same as the Road Warriors. Yeah. You see matches they had, Steiners and Road Warriors are pretty much tight too. So you put 350-pound Samoans and 600 and 700-pound Samoans against 700. It's the same. Yeah. Yeah. Now, why did you wind up leaving WCW if you remember? Again, bad choices. It got crazy up in there and I made mistakes again, and things happened, and they released me to go, and they kept my brother and Samu. Yeah. My time was up, in our wrestling world, in our wrestling business, you always have a time. Yeah. And when your time is up, then they replace you with another talent, or you can either screw it up yourself. But I blame it. Again, it takes a man to tell the truth, and the truth is I messed that up, and that's how that happened. So they let me go.
What do you remember about teaming up with Dan Crockett in Puerto Rico?
It was great. He was another character. Dan Crockett. You talk about the guy. He's a kid from Canada, Montreal, Canada. Absolutely. And I've never met him until I went to Puerto Rico. But I heard that he used to work out there in Montreal, Canada for Dino Bravo too, the company. But he was another, all the tag team besides your family and you tag with other wrestlers, it's not the same as it is with your family. But you meet them and you sort of know what type of, guys they are and what they do and their lifestyle. But Danny Crockett had an interesting lifestyle. Yeah. But he was a great man too.
You had actually a pretty big run in Mexico for a little while in the UWA. Yeah. What do you remember about working in Mexico? Pretty hot at the time too.
Yeah, they had called me. I think it's that AAA.
UWA.
It was UWA. At that time, I worked for them. I don't know if they called me Nikozuna.
It was something like that.
It was something like character as my cousin Yokozuna. Mm-hmm. At the time, you're right, it was hot, and at the time, Conan and those guys were out there too. Yes. And Little Ray, 619, he was there at the time. All these guys I knew out there before they went to WWF. Yeah. They all had the break the same way I had. I got the break. But they got it easier, and I got it the hard because I rode the road, Yeah. But it was an experience out there too as well. A lot of people, really crowded, you know what I mean? Yeah. And the money there goes up and down with the fans, and I think if I'm not mistaken, I think the tickets were like $2 or $3 a pesos. I mean, yeah. So pretty much here in the States, like $5 or $6, right? Or, or maybe less. Yeah. But it was a good run. It was different. They came up with the Yokozuna gimmick. They wanted me to do that, and they had my hair sprayed all the way up, and then they had it looking, something like Yoko. In the meantime, Yoko was at WWF. He was hot there at the time when he beat Hogan. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's when I stepped in. I wasn't really heavy or big. I was trying to put on some weight when I was down there, but it's hard with that type of food because they're all spicy and hot and everything. So they're constantly digesting all the time, Yeah. But it was good. It was a good run. Again, in a different part of the world, that was one of the toughest places to work is Puerto Rico. And then one of the second places in the world to work is Mexico City too.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Did you were you up in world class with your brother, or was that Sam and
that was Samu?
Oh, okay.
That was Samu, and Fatu was there at the time.
Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't there at the time when Gary Hart was managing them, but yeah.
Were you surprised at how huge your brother Fatu took off in WWE when he dyed his hair and did the dancing and everything?
Yeah, I really was. I think then when they did it, they thought that they thought they would pull a joke and did it. Actually, did it as a joke, and it turned out to become success. And my brother did a great job of making the character come alive.
He had a long run there, just in the different characters, just as Fatu, and then he did the gimmick with Iron Sheik when Iron Sheik was managing. The Sultan, and then of course with the blonde hair and the dancing.
Yeah, I think he had 3 different type of well, the head shrinker. I say 4.
The head shrinker, you're right. Yeah,
he had the 4 of them because he had one as a hip hop kid or something. Remember?
But he was just Fatu with the hat.
Just the hat and the color outfit. Then he had the Sultan, and he had the head shrinker, and then he had Rikishi. He had 4 different characters. Yeah, and I thought he made a great job of making every character come alive. Yeah, and that's what you call a pro.
Did you know that he had that he had it in him and it was just waiting to come out? Yeah.
It was just. I mean, again, it's like as we speak right now, it's the same thing that happened in Umaga. Yeah. Same thing. Yeah. And just waiting to come out. You have all the best talent. You can work, you can chop, you can clothesline, you can do all this stuff in the ring. You just have to have that character to go with it. And they see the bad thing about it, they didn't know that my brother can dance when he did the Rikishi gimmick. They just thought we'll put him in the thong and throw him out there. But you know what? He did a great job of making it work. And that's what you call a pro, and he did it in 4 different characters.
Did you think it was did you get a kick out of it when you rub his ass in everybody's face?
It made him more popular than ever, you know what I'm saying? I mean, there's no other ass like that in WWF. I don't care, even the girls walking around out there don't have that. Yeah. But see, it's in our blood again. It was born in us, so we know exactly where we were coming from, you know?
Yeah. How would you explain the influence in the wrestling business of the Samoans over the last several decades?
Meaning?
Just how influential the Samoans, your family, all of them have been over the last several decades in the business, going back to Peter Maivia.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, you know, we have a powerful, powerful family. And I mean it not powerful as a mafia type, but powerful as respect. Yes. Powerful as care and loving. Powerful with reaching out to help another. So over the decade, we just hope that we leave a good floor plan and a good impact for our little ones that are growing up. You know, our young kids that are growing up. And that starts like from Peter Maivia all the way to Apple to us, you know, for them to carry the tradition in the wrestling family, business, because you don't see a whole lot of family wrestlers. I can name a few. Yeah. But if you have any in mind, you can throw it out too. I got the Barnerics. It's sad what happened to them out of Texas at the Hart Foundation, like I mentioned to you. And that also, we're fitted right in there with them. Yeah. As a Samoan dynasty, Samoan tree, you know, the Samoan Outlaws. There's a lot of ways to name us, but we have, like, again, the 4th generation too is coming. Yeah. So that's another thing for you guys to look out for. But, you know, again, it's just like Bob Orton's son. Yeah, it's up in WWE.
I was thinking the Ortons.
Yeah, the Ortons. Yeah. You know, there's other wrestlers out there, or other family wrestlers out there. Let's say the Puerto Rico, Carlos, the Colones. You know, he's got his son, Carlito and Eddie. So you see, but there's a lot of us. There's like, I think there's like 10 of us. Yeah, you know, in the 3rd generation. We didn't even start the 4th generation. So. Yeah. You know, it's growing. So we just want to keep it good because of our kids. That wrestling's always there for them. If for whatever reason something happens in their life that they want to be able to become wrestlers, well, they have the best teachers here. And we also just got to set a good floor plan for them. So,
have you ever watched, and if so, what are your thoughts on Samoa Joe?
Samoa Joe's great. Yeah. I love Samoa Joe. Yeah. I love his style. I think he's for a big man. You know, it's like Yokozuna. I don't know if you guys seen him wrestle. I'm sure. Before, but Yokozuna, for a size he was in WWF, he could move. He was great. Yeah. You know, so I think Samoa Joe's doing a great job up there in TNA, And, hopefully one day that we'll join together with him, up there in TNA, because he's just laying it down for the Samoan brothers out there,
Yeah.
Go Joe.
Now, you actually wound up for one match, one night only in ECW. And we were talking a little bit about that before.
Yeah, that was out there and it was out in Florida. I forget the name of the beach. Kissimmee, yeah. It was a beach out there by the beach, right? Yeah. And the old ECW. Mm-hmm. This is before it exploded. I think actually it did explode, but it didn't explode wide, nation like it was before. But yeah, I went out there and my first match I wrestled Test. I mean, no, not Test. Taz.
You also worked with Sabu too.
And Sabu. So it was, the first night was with Taz, and then the second night was with Sabu. Yeah, it was interesting. I talked to Paul, and I called him up, and I wanted to come in there and show them what I could do. He knew what I could do because he just come out of Atlanta.
Yeah.
See, when Paul made the move and went out there, so yeah, he knew what I could do. So I just wanted to be part of the company and to give back, to our friends that are trying to do it on their own now, because you have a lot of these promoters here that are making, they got big dollars and they can do pretty much whatever they want. But Paul tried to make something happen, and it pretty much turned out to be a multi-million-dollar company,
wow.
ECW. So it was an honor for me to be part of that too as well.
Did you talk to him about maybe coming in more regularly?
No. I just that one time, and they were trying to fit storylines for the year, and he had his own crew, his own people that's been there. Just loyal to him, die hard to do anything he wants him, whatever he tells them. Yeah. So I understand. They want to step over anybody's feet, but, I have to earn my position too and my respect, which I already did that.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you do a lot of independence, I think, in Oregon, right? Do you do a lot?
Yeah, we do Portland, Oregon. The name of the company is up there. I think the new one is called IWA or something like that.
IW something, I know.
Yeah, the guy's name up there is Kevin, Kevin, I forget his last name, but he's been there for like 3.5 years in Portland, Oregon, where Piper. Now, a lot of big names came out of that place. Yeah. Yeah. Rowdy Roddy Piper came out of Portland, Oregon.
Dynamite Kid was there.
Dynamite Kid came out of, that's the time when there was an organization. Yeah. Dr. Dusty William.
Yeah, Billy Jack Haynes.
Billy Jack Haynes. Kirk Henning. See, so there's some big names that came out of that place. But this guy's been there for like 3.5 years, and they called me up to come up and help them, not just the wrestle, but to help them with the bookings and, help them put the matches and finish again. Just use my experience that I've been in so many years with it. So I go up there every month. Yeah. I wrestle a guy named Tommy Dancing, they call him, whatever. But, these kids are all young and they're all trying to make it up, just become, wrestling's in their blood. I mean, you got to love wrestling to do it. Yeah. You know what I mean? You can't do it for the money. If you're going to do wrestling, you do it to love it, because the money will come later. Yeah. But yeah, I go to Portland, Oregon a lot, and sometimes Seattle, and so it's been great. I mean, to me is you meet a lot of new friends on the road when you go and you see them wrestle in front of 20 people, 30 people. But you know what? That feels like I was when I first started. Yeah. But this is back there in when I went to Pensacola, Florida, back a long time ago. But now when they gave it to me, I was wrestling in front of 20,000 and 30,000, and it was just a lot of people, Yeah. But I mean, a lot of good young rookies on the road, and that's what I like about it.
What do you think is lacking on the Independence today? If there's one missing ingredient on the Independence today from what you've seen?
I guess money.
That's definitely missing on the Independence.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a lot of independents out there now that just... I think the most of the problem is now that we're trying to put shows together, and missing out is a lot of these backyard wrestlers are making it pretty tough on a lot of people too out there. You know what I mean? Because they see wrestling is violent and wrestling is, but wrestling's entertainment as a sport. It's supposed to be a family night out with your kids, and there's certain things you can't do. You can't go over the limit when it's a family show. Yeah. You can't cut yourself a million times like Sabu. Yeah. You can't, jump on tables like New Jack City, New Jack. I mean, there's a lot. You go to a family show, you just got to keep it as a family show. You don't really need the chairs and tables. If you're that good, you can put a cage up, and if you see somebody jump off the top, that'd be great, The highest one I ever seen jumped off the top was Superfly Jimmy Snuka.
Yeah.
At Madison Square Garden. I was there.
Oh, were you there?
Oh man, I was there. Never seen nothing like it, man.
Wow.
I'm, would Snuka be my partner, I'm one of his biggest fans. I love Superfly Jimmy Snuka. I mean, I've never seen anything like it. I never even knew when I was in the back dressing room watching them getting ready for that. I never knew he was going to jump off the top of that cage.
Wow. Because
when he wrestles sometime, you can tell he's got the knee pads and he's got the leather, the rubber stuff on his hand. But that night specifically, he had elbow pads on.
He did.
Strapped up.
Yeah.
And then underneath the pads, his knees were strapped up. So, you can sort of tell that he was going to the top.
Yeah.
He was going to raise the roof in New York City.
That's an interesting observation that you noticed the additional pads and...
Yeah, because, I always see him wrestle. He just have his little leopard thing on his wrist. And that's pretty much everything else is just his muscles just popping out of everywhere.
Yeah.
And he had his left. But that night, he had underneath the pads were strapped on the knee pads. And then that night, he had his elbow. Never seen him with elbow pads. He had elbow pads on both hands.
Yeah.
So to me, that was so strange. So in my mind, I'm thinking, the sucker's going to the top.
Yeah.
He's going to the cage. This is where he's going to make, this is something that people will talk about for decades. Like Muhammad Ali fought in Madison Square Garden, Joe Frazier, all these big names. That's one of them, the Superfly Jimmy Snuka. And of course, it comes down to me, too.
Youngest main eventer.
Yeah. The youngest that sold it out.
Wow. Do you ever want to write a book?
Yes.
Yeah?
I want to write a book, but I'm waiting for the right people to do it with me because that takes time, too.
Sure.
That's a lot of hours in it. There's a lot involved in writing a book about your whole history and your life. But, yeah, I definitely like to write a book. So if you guys are interested in writing a book about Tonga Kid, you know where to get a hold of me at.
That's awesome. In closing, we always ask our guests if they want to say something to their fans out there because a lot of your fans are watching this that may not have seen you for a while.
Right.
So if you want to talk to your fans briefly.
Well, I just want to say hello to all of my wrestling fans. Again, thank you so much for watching me and support me for a long time in New York City or all over the world or anywhere in the world or overseas. I just want to tell you guys to keep it real and stay real with yourself and just continue to tune in. Nowadays they got internet, they got emails, they got websites, and they also got MySpace. You can catch me on there.
What's your MySpace?
It's called WWF Tonga Kid.
Okay.
That's what it's called. Awesome. God bless each and every one of you, all of my wrestling fans. I'll see you later next time.
TitleMatchNetwork.com